Liked by the sound of violence.
And like I said, when I did that fight against BJ Penn and I beat him, I got asked the question in the after-fight interview. When BJ had you mounted and he was hitting, were you worried? I said, worried? I go, my dad's been punching me my whole life. I go, this was nothing.
Yeah.
My dad watched that. And he had to wait. He waited. So the next day, we did the fight. The next day, I woke up and I made it back to, we went to my friend's house. I got violently ill. We'll get into that story, how everybody in the thing got ill. So when I showed up, my dad called about 4 or 5 in the morning, just belligerent drunk. He finally worked up the courage. You piece of shit. You piece of shit. What'd you call it? You know, you said that, this and that. I'm going, you know why I said that? Oh, let me tell you why I said that, sir. I go, because I figured you were probably sitting somewhere watching that fight going, that's my boy. Yeah. I made him, and I'm trying to mock his voice. That's my boy. I made him that tough. I made him that way. Yeah. I go, because that's what a dad should do. Yeah. A real dad. And so I go, so I pictured somewhere you sitting there doing exactly that. And I wanted to make sure that you realize one thing. You weren't shit to me. My mother made me tough. I was raised by a woman. My mother showed me how to be tough. This isn't for you. You shouldn't be sitting there watching this because you didn't put in on this. You don't deserve this.
What up, everybody? Welcome back to yet another Sound of Violence podcast. We are an MMA podcast. Talks about the MMA podcast you just catch, skip, and can't miss each week. Actually, no, that's not even true. We're an MMA podcast that talks about the podcast you should catch and can't miss each week. As well as we aim to be a form of mutual aid for the MMA community. It's been a hectic intro on the back end. I'm not even going to lie to you guys. I think that cable for my mic is starting to die, so it's a little up in the air. Also, it's been an all-around technical difficulty ass intro as usual. But we are back yet again, and I am here with my co-host Chris Madaffer. How's it going, man?
It's going, because I'm the guy who always has to miss the fight cards. Yeah.
Yeah. Not only that, but I am having so much goddamn technical problems lately, and it's definitely not helping any.
Yeah, it's a bummer. I would say it's normal. It's normal well, it shouldn't be normal. You know what I'm trying to say.
It's normal.
It's normal when
it's MMA normal.
Yeah. Just like it's normal when we have questions about, post-fight cards of who should fight who next, and you're like, oh, well, this guy's not going to fight for obvious reasons because he wants X amount of cheddar.
And the UFC is a bunch of cheap bitches.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, let's not pay someone who's not only giving their blood, sweat, and tears, but, their blood,
Coke sweat even.
Yes, their blood, sweat, and gear.
Yeah. Oh, shit. Chris coming out the gates with them jokes.
All of it.
Oh, boy. Well, it's going to be...
And the hide-and-seek champion. from USADA.
That's right. It's going to be another weird Monday episode for us this week. These Monday night episodes are fucking weird, Chris. I don't know why.
Manic Monday.
Dude, for real. I feel more manic on Mondays, even though I feel like it's actually less hectic for me to record on Mondays than Sundays some days, but
So
I
just a
hated the
caveat,
way that came
we
out.
would have recorded yesterday, except I got the second dose of the vaccine Saturday.
That's right,
so
Chris be
yesterday,
vaxxed.
I didn't feel so well yesterday. Had the chills, and then I just couldn't really talk. It would just sound nasally as fuck. I'm like, yeah, that would be actually bad. So,
I mean, yeah, we can't have two nasally bitches on this podcast.
yeah.
That's my whole gimmick, bro. That or weed and drugs and booze. I haven't figured it out yet. It's probably one of the two. Anyway, well, it's a great way to get into things. Chris, you, I believe, are being a nice sober boy this week.
Yeah, I am on a prescription drug, and they recommend I don't drink. All the ladies say is like, oh, maybe have. They basically said don't binge drink, and just.
So you're like, what's the fucking point, bro?
Yeah, that's exactly. So I'm just not gonna drink.
You're like, I don't need a lager that bad, my guy.
I'm not gonna be like this. Hey, here's a badass new, 4-pack of whatever cool beer that's trending. I got. I'm only gonna have one.
right. It's not really our style. Yeah.
That's not professional. It's not our style. We don't do that around here.
Yeah. Welcome to San Diego, y'all. We don't have one beer.
What do you mean, bro? You don't like Yingling or Youngling? How do you?
I fuck with Yingling, actually.
Yeah.
Wait, is that what Yingling means?
What do you mean?
Wait, what? Now I'm confused. Where the fuck did the Yingling reference come from?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know why.
Hey, Matt Joya in chat. Yeah, with the Yingling shout out. Matt, you are in New York. You should have way better. You got Brooklyn right there. You should not be shouting out Yingling.
I said I don't want to drink Yingling because I guess in its perspective, I live somewhere that didn't have craft beer, so I'm just shitting on Yingling, saying,
well,
we have Yingling.
To be fair, Yingling's a solid, it's better than a lot of the other options on the East Coast, as far as, big companies go. But, I mean, Brooklyn's been around in New York forever, and they're solid. Plus, if you're in New York, you can probably get depending on who you know. Matt was in Wisconsin for 4 years. Shouts out to, is Hetty Topper from Wisconsin? I want to say it is, right?
No, that's Vermont.
Oh,
Alchemist.
okay. I knew it was a cheese state. I just didn't know which cheese state. But yeah, Vermont. You're totally right. Matt, you should not be drinking Natty Light anymore. I can go ahead and tell you right now, you should definitely, if you're just looking for some shitty, cheap beer references, Hams is a go-to. Hams is delicious. Busch, regular Busch, really, really good, clean, light beer.
By the way, ask Matt if he's been to Alfonso's in Wisconsin, because I saw something on First We Feast where you can get these ginormous mozzarella cheese sticks from Alfonso's in Wisconsin. That sounds
ridiculous.
And someone commented, "Oh yes, I would love to never be able to shit again."
Yeah, that checks out. Evidently, Matt's a big Porter fan, which means he's a dude after my own heart. Yes! Matt says all they drank in Wisconsin was Hams. Hams is fucking dope. Don't let people tell you different, bro. Hams is one of the best cheap beers.
The 6-pack at Smart and Final for $4.
Dude, you can get a fucking 36-pack of that at Smart and Final for $20. Yeah, it's the best. I legit get Hams every time I'm near a Smart and Final. Let's see. Matt likes porters. I mean, go-to porters. Gotta go Alaskan Baltic. That's some of the go-to.
Deschutes has a decent one. The Black.
Yeah, Butte. Deschutes Black Butte is probably the best beer Rogan's ever drank on a podcast.
Wait, really? Is that the first?
Dude, he used to love that beer. It blew. I was so happy. Oh yeah, Matt went to Asheville and now he's a beer snob. That'll happen to you. Asheville,
North Carolina.
Yeah,
their beer scene's blown up.
Dude, Asheville's legit as fuck. They have them and Richmond are two of the big blow up spots on the East Coast. And actually, New York in general has been starting to have a ton of beers, or especially new breweries coming out. I signed up for Tavour. You know about Tavour?
I've heard of Tavor.
Yeah, from the Four Brewers, I'm sure is what you heard about it, right? Yeah. Yeah,
Exactly.
so essentially, yeah, you can add beers to like a crate and they ship it to you. It's like $6 a tall can. It's
How
not
much is
bad.
it?
It's like
I'm interested in doing that.
yeah, it's like normal liquor store prices, but yeah, it's pretty dope. Oh my God, Matt has a Rogan article from when he was 17 that there's comments about. Oh boy, I'm number one. I apologize for all the bullying you've probably gotten from the fight side about that. Number two, definitely gonna need a link to that for making fun of you and bullying you later, Matt. 100%. But yeah, 100%. I would say go to porters right now is kind of tough. If you can find bacon and eggs. That is the best porter I've had probably in a very long time. It's from Bacon and Eggs from Peach Port. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking delicious and a coffee beer. It's it's real good.
It's a breakfast beer too, if you fancy doing that.
Well, and it's like just on the drinkable side of Imperial Porter, where it's like I think it's 8 or 9.
I think it's about 8% exactly. So
Yeah,
kinda like in that underneath the kind of whatever you want to call it mark.
Yeah, it's like just barely. It's like high. It's like big IPA, but not like fuck off ABVs where you can have like half a glass and then be like, okay, I need to pace myself for a little bit. So yeah, I mean, Matt, congratulations on being the only other porter fan I know other than me, because there's none of us. Yo, bro, the only way to be more obscure is to be like, oh, I'm a big ESB fan. Ooh, if you like peanut butter porter, let's see. I mean, I guess the go-tos down here is like peanut butter stout from
Belching,
and then Carl Strauss has a peanut butter cup. Is that a porter or a stout?
That's a stout, I think.
I think it's a stout.
A peanut butter stout, I thought it was a porter, is from Left Hand Brewing in Colorado. I can't remember what it's called.
Right.
It was all right. A little too sweet for me. I'm not a big fan of peanut butter in beers.
And Left Hand is a little bit on the sweeter side in general. Like, their milk stout's pretty fucking sweet. But anyway, we are not a booze podcast or a beer podcast. Although that does segue me pretty nicely into. Oh wait, Chris, did we ever talk about what you're actually drinking, or are we just talking about what Matt's drinking?
So it's that tea brand Tajava that's pretty solid.
Okay.
I usually just drink the regular. I don't really like sweet tea unless it's like a southern honey sweet tea that's done right. Sure. It's unsweetened, but they have a raspberry variant of it, and it's solid. I'm just drinking it in a mason jar. It's good.
Hell yeah, I fucks with it. So this week I am actually not drinking a beer. I am drinking. You probably cannot see this because of the way this glass is built and the way this reflection is going to work. One of my favorite all-time glasses. You totally cannot really see. It's actually etched with the. It's actually etched with
Just put it next to your face, so there I can see it now.
Well, yeah, but you can't see the etching on it, which is it's actually etched with the map of San Diego, which is like one of the coolest tumblers that I got. But more importantly than that, Matt is actually drinking acai like a Brazilian bitch boy he is. I mean, to be fair, the only one I know that rolls for fucking guard more than Matt is my cat, who just flops guard all the goddamn time. So, pretty sure that is a factual ass statement. Also, Chris, I would like to say, we might have some of the best Brazilian food in the country in San Diego, low key. Like, people don't really talk about it, but there's a shitload of Brazilians down here. Like, PB, there's 6 acai places on Grand alone, or on Garnett alone.
Yeah.
Like, they have queijo de pau, the cheese bread and all that stuff down here. It's fucking... That's what's up. Anyway, Matt's been wrestling. Matt's been getting wrestled, I think is what Matt means. Anyway. Oh, okay. I fucks with you, Matt. Anyway, this is not Matt's show, despite his best efforts, although it will be one day, I'm sure. Anyway, Chris, this week am not drinking a beer. I am drinking a cocktail. I actually made myself an old-fashioned, which the ice has since melted from, because I could not find my giant fucking ball ice thing, and we had some pre-show difficulties. However, Matt says everyone knows San Diego's for BJJ. That and San Diego's for BJJ and cops are for BJJ. Weird coincidence, huh? All right. On that note, I am drinking I just made a quick old fashioned with a Demerara sugar cube and some Angostura bitters and some Whistle Pig piggyback.
I was gonna ask you, what bourbon did you put in there?
So I actually went with a rye.
Nice.
And yeah, so girlfriend Karen actually got me this since she's been driving my car a bunch and she wanted to give me a thank you. So she got me the piggyback 6-year. And I mean, I don't buy bottles that are this expensive generally because it's an expensive fucking bottle. But good God, is it goddamn delicious? I mean, there's just a ton of brown sugar and molasses notes coming off of this thing. Definitely has a little bit of that rye spice. But if you guys have had Whistle Pig, it very much is like it's a spicy rye, but it's not, it's so smooth. Like, it has somewhere between like a caramel and vanilla backbone on it. And like, man, it's just so good. I think the last time I had Whistle Pig, at least that I can remember off the top of my head, was around this time last year. Actually, it would have been January last year when I went up to Anaheim and went to at the Anaheim. There's like a market in Anaheim, like a open. I forget what they always call those things, but it's a big warehouse kind of thing. It's not the farmers market, but it's like a big warehouse where they have a bunch
market?
No, it's like a big warehouse. It's a lot like Liberty Station Marketplace. It's like that, but it's a packing house in Anaheim is what it's called. It used to be a big meat packing house. Now it's just a bunch of restaurants essentially. But they had this cool little kind of like train car-esque bar in it that was serving I think it was bacon fat old fashions with Whistle Pig. And good God, were those things fucking dangerous, dude. So yeah, anyway, this Whistle Pig drink is fucking hilarious and delicious. I don't know why I went with hilarious. And yeah, I'm a big rye fan, and although I don't really buy rye for myself that often, and I'm absolutely loving it. So shouts to that. And now that we have officially gone all over the fucking place in this episode, Chris, I guess we should actually talk about MMA at some point, huh?
We'll try.
I mean, yeah, maybe we'll try. We'll see how we're feeling. On that note, I guess we'll get into format. The only piece of news I have, we are going to come up on in a little bit when we talk about some of the podcasts I listen to. So, on that note, I'm going to smoke a bowl of some of this, oh God, what is it? Oh, that's right. It's the Piff, if you guys are in the East Coast. Like, if you're Matt over in New York, it's known as the Piff. If you're not, it's known as New York City Haze. I'm smoking that lemonade, and it's pretty fire. So, Chris, you want to go ahead and start us off with the MMA podcast you recommend people catch this week?
So, I only have maybe like 5 of these things on here. I think most of the, like 2 of them are previews, and the rest are recaps.
That works. It was kind of for a pay-per-view week. It seemed like kind of a light week for a lot of shows.
Yeah, there was one I meant to catch. Oh no, there's one I just got added today. I saw Jack Slack just did a post-fight reaction. I forgot to listen to that.
Yeah, anyways, a lot of that stuff we'll end up getting to in this next episode.
Yeah, I will get to this. Heavy Hands 361 was really funny.
Yeah,
it was
good. Ryan Wagner, speaking of the fight side dudes.
Wagner, right? I remember his last name. I couldn't remember the guy's first name.
Yeah, Ryan Wagner, the host of the the 8 Limbs podcast over on the fight site, which has hands down the best intro music in all of MMA podcasts. Fucking that Thai boxing song. I legit have looked into buying that vinyl. That fucking Thai boxing song is so good, dude.
God damn it. Okay.
Thai boxing. Anyway, go ahead.
So they were talking about how sad they were that Volkanovski and Ortega was rescheduled. Yeah, because I know Volkanovski, I believe, tested positive for COVID, or one of his corner men did.
Yeah. I think it was him that tested positive, and then so as a result, it was it was Volkanovski who tested positive, and then Riddell had to pull out as a result, right? I think that's how that went.
Oh yeah, because Riddell was gonna fight someone really awesome.
Was it? I think it was Riddell. I don't know. It's so many fucking COVID pullouts and so many cross contaminations. It's starting to get hard to keep track of.
Yeah, Riddell was gonna fight Gregor Gillespie. I was looking.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Fuck. Well, so yeah, that happened. I mean, COVID's still very real.
Oh, really? Because Jacksonville begs to differ, bro.
Well, does Jacksonville exist if you don't believe in it?
I mean, it depends on what level of Coke/bath salts you're on, I believe. Because it's Florida.
In Jacksonville, I think they call bathrooms the Coke rooms.
Well, I know, but depending on what part of Jacksonville, they might call it the bath salt room.
Well, then you need to get the fuck out of there as fast as possible.
Right.
Anyways, they discussed heavyweight striking as far as strikers in the heavyweight division, which is ironic considering what went down.
Yeah.
Not ironic. It's actually amazing. It's actually for the better considering what went down.
Dude,
made me very happy. I'm very happy.
I think a lot of us had our minds blown about that. Yeah.
And a little sad though. We'll get to that. We're like saying, I could just talk about this right now, and it's just gonna I just want to comment immediately. They'll just say this: certain fighters have bad countering, throwing mad combos without precision and gases early. You could tell where they were going with this. And in all fairness, it was they weren't. Well, they were wrong, but this was based on, Ngannou hadn't shown us much really in the past couple fights, considering he was knocking people the fuck out in 30 seconds.
Yep.
And
it was not like he was setting it up. He was just spazzing at people.
Yeah, and as far as the age of mythical fighters, whether it's Sea-Level Kane, is it featherweight Connor or motivated? I think it's featherweight Connor. There's what else is there for
motivated BJ?
Motivated. I know there's another mythical.
We said Sea-Level Kane.
Now it's Patient Francis.
Yeah.
And then there's another one. Someone made.
There's a billion of them.
Yeah. God damn it.
Motivated BJ is still the greatest.
Yeah.
Anytime a fighter is picking up rocks underwater, they're serious about their training.
And then, the main point they had, which I highlighted, is maybe if Francis decided to fight patiently. Oh,
no sparring max is the other one.
Yes.
Yeah, no camp or no sparring max, 100%. Yeah. Hey, Mark Fellow is dropping in the chat. We are not taking any shoeies, Mark, and we will not take any of your bets, goddammit. I know your tricks.
See, I know technically when you do a shoe, it has to just be the shoe. It can't be like a new shoe, right? You just take your shoe and do it. Luckily, I have multiple pairs of shoes because the one shoe I wear a lot has a shit ton of dog hair in it. So if I did a shoey,
I'd be a rough shoey.
Some dog hair, and that'd be a rough one.
Yeah, Mark, we are going to be getting to some of that definitely in a bit, no doubt.
It's just a lot of this. They talk about Luque versus Woodley. We've seen in hindsight after what went down on Saturday, Woodley definitely was more aggressive than he has been in a while, and that was good to see. However, it was also not technically sound.
I mean, I wouldn't even say that it's not technically sound, but
I think it was more or less because he's never really been that aggressive, so he didn't really kind of know how to.
I think he.
Because isn't he mostly a counter striker?
Yeah, he's notoriously been a counter striker because he's afraid of number one gassing and number two getting clipped on a counter, which of which started to happen in that fight and just progressively got worse. Yeah. Also, shout out to the Karth dropping in chat as well, shouting out Michael Pajeda with only 4 backflips around instead of 17 is another mythical creature. I'm pretty sure.
That's right. They briefly discussed, also known as Conor Rebush's nemesis, Sugar Sean O'Malley.
Oh, I thought it was that bastard Zane Simon.
Or was it? Oh, right, yeah. His second nemesis.
Yeah. Well, it depends on what show we're talking about, but we're talking about Heavy Hands, so it's that bastard Zane Simon. Yeah.
They just talked about O'Malley's game plan, yada yada, keeping Almeida on the outside. I will say this: that fight was, for what you want to say about O'Malley, he is a very entertaining fighter. The dude's very flashy.
Sure.
As far as what he wants to do, however, that was also He undermined his ability to fight smart late in that fight, considering he tried to look for a stupid, oh, I'm going to try to show off, dude. It's like, no, dude, you had multiple opportunities to finish the fight. What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, walk-off KOs, unless you're in heavyweight, are like, nah, I don't get the point. I don't get it. I mean, I get it that it looks cool on replays. And to be fair to Sean O'Malley, I feel like 90% of the things he throws in fights is to look cool on replays. Like every third strike now is a look away right hand, even though he doesn't really look away anymore. So it's, I don't know. He is definitely, it's hard to be more of a meme fighter than Kevin Holland, but Sean O'Malley's out here trying to do it.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I have for heavy hands. It was very entertaining. Ryan Wagner was a very great addition to that episode. Lots of good insight all around.
Hey, look at that. Dan Albert dropping in chat and actually dropping fucking facts about Woodley, which I am 100% in agreement with. Dan's mentioning in chat that Woodley's stand-up is emblematic of who he is in every way. God damn it, I should make you read. I'm so bad at reading and talking. Go ahead. You got chat pulled up, right?
Muted, so there's not a massive echo from hell.
Yeah, Chris is...
Might hear an echo for half a second.
Chris is way better reading than me. And
okay, it's muted.
Nobody needs to hear me stumble any more than I already do.
I'm just trying to see if I could put on a live
Oh my
chat
god, this is going to go forever. All right, Chris, I'll do it for this one. You can get the next one. But yeah, Dan Albert...
There it is. I see it.
You got it?
Yeah, we got it.
Also, it's always a fight side takeover on this show. I don't know if y'all noticed. Y'all been a takeover since you started. It's regardless of whether you're here or not.
Yeah, Dan Albert said, yeah, fight side takeover, sick as fuck. Definitely is.
No, I meant the other part, bro, about Woodley.
Oh, yeah. Woodley's last stand is emblematic of who he is in every way. Uncomfortable, limited, could have been so much more. I has my theories on Woodley issues. Well, Dan, they are good theories.
Yeah. I think that is 100% on point, and yeah, Woodley. That was always a fight that was gonna go bad for Woodley, even if it went well for him. Like best case scenario, that fight was boring and ugly. Oh boy. Also, I guess I need to check my DMs on the break for something Matt sent me about some Rogan stuff, which might be some fun content for later. But anyway, we should get back on this. We should get back on topic and stop letting the vaping scooter gang run circles around us over here. Let's see, Chris. You got anything else on the heavy hands yet?
That was it for me, for what I had at the moment.
So then I will jump into one of my catches for this week, which is Inside the Hexagon, Strikeforce, Carano vs. Cyborg. This is Phil Lanidy's podcast that he hosts, and he had Ben Folks on for this episode. Really fun episode. Really interesting hearing them talk back about Gina and Cyborg, like in that lead up to that Strikeforce fight, and just kind of like that weird way you have to couch giving Elite XC credit, you know? Because Elite XC was like extremely exploitative and weird with female or women's MMA. But also they did kind of pave the way for big headline events like Carano vs. Cyborg, or when Julie fought Carano and that kind of stuff. So it definitely, it's weird and interesting. But it's a really fascinating episode. Ben and Phil were both, in the building for that fight. And Ben talks a bit about Gina, because Ben talked to Gina back last summer before she completely went full Tito on everybody. And she had talked about how she took the Cyborg fight mostly because she felt like she owed it to the fight world. Like, as in, like, so many fights go by the wayside and never actually happen in combat sports just because it's two big names and they can never sit down and get an agreement going.
Or because they're cursed.
Or because the promotion won't actually pay people what they're worth. Shouts to a certain heavyweight / light heavyweight.
Yeah, the angle you're on is about just two superstars that trying to fight.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's more so like that either the promotion or the fighters can't come to an agreement. Oftentimes it just means the promotion's not paying them what the fuck they're worth, if we're being honest. But it's really interesting to hear them talk about that and how Gina intentionally went out of her way to not let that be a fight that got away. And then evidently she also talked to Ben, which I hadn't heard before, about how she got in her own head a lot in the lead up to that fight. And like how she kind of freaked out when she had, like, because if you've seen that fight, she mounted Cyborg in the first round of that fight. Like she had her in mount, right. and was like, evidently in her inner dialogue, she was kind of like freaking out. She's like, "Oh shit!" And then of course you cut to Esther Lynn picture of Gina getting her head punched the opposite direction by Cyborg. But yeah, it's a fun episode, and it's a really good example of why Inside the Hexagon is a cool thing. And I hope people do more things like that for old promotions that are either no longer around, or especially in this case where Phil was actually involved in the Strikeforce promotion. So he has a lot of connections to both fighters and to people who were around at the time, all that stuff. So I think it's a really good example of why Inside the Hexagon's a super solid show. And yeah, I mean, anytime you get Ben Folks on the mic, I'm gonna listen, because that dude is
I'm too
number one, San Diego State alum. Number two,
Yep.
shouts out Rocky's Pub right down the street from me all the time, which that's a if you know, you know kind of thing. And number three, Ben Folks is just my dude. Shouts to the peanut butter cup edibles. You know what I'm saying? There's a whole bunch of co-main event references for you.
Oh no! I remember trying certain beers. I think it's Ben that doesn't like stouts or porters, right? I remember there's one episode and he's like,
yeah. Well, I mean, he's kind of a baby about most beers, because you met Danny Downs. We both met him down here at a Balboa Tap House. Shout out to those guys. Some of the best. If you're ever in San Diego, go to Balboa Tap House. They'll treat you right. Drop my name. They probably will remember me. Probably.
Oh no, Steve.
Yeah. Steve knows what's up. Yeah, if Steve is there or the twins are there, they'll probably know what's up. Just say the fat dude with the beard named Pulver, and they'll probably get you. Yeah, those guys are great. I've known them since before they were turning me down to buy beer in their store since I was 18. Let me put it that way. But they're good dudes. Yeah, man. But Inside the Hexagon, a lot of fun, and definitely recommend checking it out. Let's see, Chris, do you have another catch for this week?
Yeah. Speaking of nemesis, MMA Vivisection 260.
Yeah, MMA Vivisection was dope this week. I almost had it on my catches, so I'm glad you put it.
This was similar to Heavy Hands, and because, well, I mean, it helps that Connor is also on Vivisection.
That's right.
So,
and unlike the other show, Phil McKenzie, that bastard, is not on it, but Zane Simon is.
Yeah, it was very similar in how they both were predicting the main event to go. I'll say this. They said Stipe can KO Francis, but he doesn't usually look for a knockout. He did kind of look for a knockout when he got in that pocket with him, and I forgot who brought up a good point. I know Stipe could, even though he was, because he wasn't 235 in there, he's probably hydrated up to like 240, 245, I think. I don't know. He's definitely slimmer, for a heavyweight.
He definitely looked much smaller in this fight, yeah.
I remember some tweet was like, oh no, it was John Jones. John Jones, of course.
By the way, that was absolutely the correct tone for a John Jones tweet. Ugh.
John Jones was like, oh, well, maybe if Stipe actually took it serious and was heavier, maybe he would have had a chance, or some dumb shit like, which technically I see where he's coming from. If he had more mass and was bigger, then yeah, okay.
He lost a speed exchange.
Yeah, but the fact of the matter is, we'll get to this later, it's just Francis he's got himself a great team now.
Well, I wouldn't even say that because he's had a great team, but the motherfucker did a game plan for once.
Yeah.
Like, evidently there was a whole ass game plan. If you hear Eric Nixick and Dewey Cooper talk about the fight with Jair Rosenstruck, they're like, there was a game plan for that fight, and he just did not do any of it.
Yep.
He just walked forward and threw the ugliest back opposite side fucking hooks.
And I think even Kamaru Usman said, or no, and Francis said, yeah, he's like, I really want to give a lot of credit to Usman, because he kind of told me, calm down, be patient, if you want this belt, this is what you got to do.
When Usman was in the corner, am I wrong?
Yep, you're not wrong.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he was basically in his ear saying, "Hey man, if you want this belt, chill out. Don't go for broke early. Just do what you got to do. Look for a counter. Do this. And I could tell. I don't know if he's been training wrestling or doing something with Usman because that fucking sprawl. I was like, ooh.
Eric Nixick. That's Eric Nixick from what I've heard. He's been Dan Tom even said ahead of this fight, do not be surprised if you even see a counter takedown attempt from Francis Ngannou in this fight, according to Eric Nixick. Like, Eric Nixick has been working that dude in the wrestling room from everything I've heard. And a lot of that you don't, it's hard to tell up until you actually see it. Although going back and watching the first fight, especially shouts again to the fight site, this will come up in a bit, but Ed Gallo's rewatch that he did, the resume review for Stipe, when you go back and rewatch that first fight, Francis did a lot of things right. He definitely got stuck against the cage a bit, but he did a lot of things right in that first fight. And he just 100% amplified all of that in this one. And yeah, Eric Nixick, man, while Eric Nixick has some crazy stories about growing up, like if you guys want to go hear some crazy Eric Nixick stories, go listen to the Brendan Fitzgerald podcast and some of in his interview with him. Eric Nixick's a weird dude, but holy shit, is that guy a pretty fucking great coach. And I think after getting titles for both Aljo and Francis Ngannou within this month, I think that is a pretty clear statement. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, in retrospect, let it be known, the dude that Matt Serra was real bummed out about him being kind of a baby about not being in the corner for Aljo, because Aljo was working with Eric Nixick.
Eric Nixick, yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's who he did like most of his camp with. So, yeah, it's interesting, man. It's interesting stuff for sure. But yeah, the vivisection though, that was a great vivisection. Super funny too. Like, do not sleep on the rest of that thing. Where there was some great jokes and there was some really solid breakdowns.
Oh, so this is the one too where Connor doubled down saying, "I don't like Sean O'Malley at all." This dude, he just kept kind of going after him. And they said, that being said, it pains me to say, Sean via early KO. Well, that didn't happen.
I mean,
almost happened.
It basically happened. To be fair, anybody who watched that fucking footage saw Thomas Almeida walking into clean counters over and over again in the first round of his last fight against a dude with way less power, and they're like, all right, well, fuck, dude, you can't just literally square your stance and put your chin into counters over and over again and get Sean O'Malley. So that shit was kind of bound to happen. That being said, though, Sean O'Malley almost panicked and gassed after he didn't get his walk-off KO. So,
and he almost rolled his ankle.
Yeah, his shit was fucked up, right? As Jack Slack called him, Sean Osteoporosis O'Malley.
Oh, Jesus. All right,
I believe it's Sean O'Malley. The O stands for osteoporosis is the actual terminology. That's
pretty good. I've also seen Sean O'Maleg or the one I saw at a YouTube comment, Sean One Malley.
It's not bad. It's not bad at all. Oh, man. Hell yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. So I guess I'll keep moving on. I got 2 more catches. So another one of my catches for this week is Fitz Nation. I just mentioned Brendan Fitzgerald's podcast, which he renamed to Fitz Nation, I think within the last couple months, 6 months or so, when he brought it back. But Omaleg, yeah, Matt Joya in chat, big fan of Omaleg. Oh my gosh, Matt, why is your name not Matt Omaplata? Omaplata is, how is that not a joke already? All I'm saying. Anyway, Fitz Nation, March 24th, 2021. Brendan Fitzgerald had Bilal Muhammad on, and it's fucking awesome. As well documented on this podcast, we are blocked by Bilal Muhammad for criticizing his fuckboy manager who likes to associate with people who assassinate gay people. So fuck Ramzan Kadyrov and fuck Ali Abdelaziz. But Bilal Muhammad's a cool dude. And he was on this episode. It's really good. Like, I want to be very clear that just because we were blocked by Bilal for shitting on his manager And I will often be grumpy as shit about this entire thing. It's only because I'm a big Bilal fan, and I think he's great. So yeah, he talked about in this episode he actually got 3 stitches on the inside of his eye.
Oh Jesus!
Like on the inside of his eyelid, because if you saw that picture, it was bad.
Yeah, it looked like a fingernail, like just kind of if you would slash, like you cut your cuticle. That's
Yeah.
what like on your finger. Like
it was on like the inside of the eyelid. So
yeah, that looked fucked.
it was bad. So he got those 3. Luckily, it was only 3 stitches. He got those taken out, and he talks about the terrifying experience of like doctors like, okay, you cannot blink or move your eye, or else I'm gonna fuck you, because he had tweezers against his eye, basically trying to pull him out. Fucked up. He also talks about how he's been poked really badly before and had to have laser surgery, which is terrifying.
Oh Jesus!
Because now you realize like why he was like panicking so bad about it too. Where like, because he was like, you could see him like walk through it and be like, fuck. And like realized like, oh, I just can't. And he said he couldn't see for like a long time, and it was a lot like when he had to have laser surgery. He also talks about why the rematch needs to happen, and then he talks about kind of growing up in a crazy school where there's just a ton of fights. Like it basically was like a prison where everybody's just racially segregated at the school, and there's just fucking when fights like people would pull the alarm bell and then just go fist fight. Like
He grew up in Chicago, right?
I think so. I know he did. I don't know if this is the time period that he was talking about, because I don't know if he grew up somewhere else. But yeah, he did grow up in Chicago, and I think lives in Chicago again.
Yeah,
I know he was training at Rufus Sport, but I think he's back in Chicago. If I
recall, I know both of his parents. I mean, and himself, they're all Palestinian. His dad was born in the U.S., and I think his mom was from Palestine.
His mom's from Palestine, and that's why he walks out with the Palestinian flag. That's actually one of the reasons why this is a catch, is hearing him talk about Palestine and hearing him talk about like nobody reps Palestine. Like there's no one on TV repping the Palestine flag, and like Bilal gets a lot of shit for doing that, just for walking out with that flag, and it's just because it's where his mom is from, and he just wants to be able to represent those people because it's his people. And like I thought it was just a very cool and very interesting kind of discussion that he had. And Brendan Fitzgerald is a very underrated interviewer in the sport. I think over time, I think people are going to give Brendan Fitzgerald a lot of credit for his interview ability, because while a lot of it is kind of played by the book, kind of UFC storytelling stuff, it's much more genuine and much less exploitative feeling than when the UFC does it. It's much more just like him being curious and asking questions of dudes, where he's like done a tiny bit of research and he just wants to be able to like, you know, have them tell their story kind of thing. And I'm fucking here for it, man. I love it.
Oh yeah, man! I'm gonna have to check that out. That sounds like a fun one.
It's a great episode, and it's also a lot more serious. Bilal Muhammad, where like on his show, Remember the Name, it's a lot more like goofy, jokey stuff, and like, you know, they do a lot of. It's a lot more like Bilal's Twitter, where like Bilal's Twitter. Sorry about bumping the mic. Bilal's Twitter is rarely, if ever, fucking very serious, and you know, all that. It's mostly just like hilarious jokes and memes and shit, because that's the kind of shit Bilal likes. But yeah, man, it's a really cool conversation, and I highly recommend the Fitz Nation episode from March 24th with Bilal.
Nice.
Let's see. Do you have any other catches for this week?
Yeah, this one's a post-fight, so if you'd like me to discuss it later...
No, go for it.
Okay. This one is the sixth round post-fight show with Zane Simon and Eddie Mercado. This one was solid.
Hell yeah. I wish I talked about this show more. It's just because of when we record, oftentimes it gets skipped over, but dude, I fucking love this show, especially with the Zane and Eddie episodes. They're bangers.
This is a good one. They immediately started off with talking
First off,
about...
can we not say Eddie and Victor Rodriguez are low key two of the funniest people who don't get enough credit on podcasts? Probably, like they are both hilarious. Whether it be Victor on Level Change or Eddie on the 6th round, or the occasional when they used to do the Ryzen previews and stuff. Like dudes are very funny, and I always enjoy hearing the both of them. Also,
Yeah.
Eddie pro MMA fighter too.
That's right.
Yeah, you got I think he has either 1 or 2 fights under his belt now, or no, he has a Muay Thai fight and a MMA fight.
That's awesome. I mean, it's kind of cool. Not that someone would just like, no one really flaunts that. I know when there's podcasts that are hosted by fighters in general, but it's kind of cool when you get more one that's like kind of like a low, I don't know if you call it like a low key fighter or whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Well, it's just cool seeing media like who train also take like a fight. Like John Anik's talking about taking a fucking amateur fight against his brother, which would be hilarious.
He's finally going to train UFC.
Yeah, and he's gonna fight his brother, so it's gonna be fucking. It's gonna be East Coast John Anik versus West Coast John Anik, since his brother looks like Uriah Faber once he gets cornrows. I'm sure
his brother should just shave his head, buzz his head too, so then everyone's confused. I'm serious,
dude. Also, they should wear the same thing, and they should
please.
They should just both be announced as Anik. That way no one knows who wins or loses.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Yo, I would be so into that idea. That would be the troll.
Like the initial J.
Anik? Yes, Chris, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we've come up with the best gimmick for this. Cody Merrow, I know you're I think you stopped listening. But if you didn't, we got a great plan for you. Dude, how good would that be? That's actually a really, really good joke. And honestly, it's kind of a win-win for both of them, right?
Yeah.
To be fair, though, Jason Anik, clearly the prettier of the two. Sorry, John, but your brother got them locks, bro.
He's got the flow.
Dude, he looks like a San Diego kid, to be honest. Like, if Jason Anik didn't open his mouth and walked into a room next to John Anik, I'm like, John, did your brother grow up in San Diego? Because he looks like he works at Claremont Surf Shop a little bit. There's some local references for you.
So getting back to 6th round,
That's
they
right.
immediately start the show off by talking about, well, we know John Jones is only going to fight Francis if he gets paid a lot. Well, look at what happened today on Twitter. He's not going to get paid, according to himself.
And according to the fucking fact the UFC always refuses to pay him. Also because his management is not good negotiators, because it's never been their job to negotiate.
You might as well just get Ali as his manager.
You mean the guy who has 0 champs and is constantly fucking people out of opportunities right now?
Wait, doesn't he manage Usman?
Oh, he does have Usman. No. Yeah, but who has Usman fought that is not an Ali client lately?
Wait, that's not lately?
Yeah.
I mean, he's about to fight Masvidal again, I guess. Who's Kawa?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Kawa's basically Ali light.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Let me try to answer this.
Oh, I guess to be fair, he fought.
Because it's in Gilbert Burns. Also, Kawa, is he Ali as well?
No, he's Ali.
Ali. Okay.
Yep, this is where it starts getting tough, Chris.
Colby's Dan. No, it's not.
Yeah,
Dan
Colby's
Lambert.
Dan Lambert. To be fair,
yeah.
But like,
whatever.
That I mean.
I think John Jones should get Ali as his manager. They belong with each other.
I mean, to be fair, I feel like the Malkies I'm gonna call them the Malkies just because Abe's been such a giant bitch lately on Twitter. I'm just gonna call him the Malkies because for a long time I used to be like, "Yo, why is Malky not more like the good brother Abe who just keeps his mouth shut?" And then Abe Kawa started running his fucking mouth all the time. So, but I don't know if you noticed, I've blocked all 3 of both the Kawas and Ali are blocked on our Twitter. I fucking cannot see that bullshit anymore, bro. It's not. They don't break news. They just yell like horrific things about how they don't understand the political process. Is mostly about it.
I remember once I saw, it must have been Malky. He said, he says he thinks it's inspirational that Mike Perry could say the N-word or like some absolutely ridiculous.
Oh yeah. He's like, who else could get away with saying that?
Yeah, like, dude, what are we doing?
That was Abe, actually, I believe.
Oh, Jesus. Well, aren't they twins, actually? I don't fucking know.
I mean, they're equally fucking terrible, so I'll go with that.
Yeah, and they said John Jones only going to fight him if he gets paid. He's not going to get paid, so it's just going to be John Jones. Probably not fighting for a long time again. They enjoyed Woodley versus Luque for the fact that Woodley was throwing his hands.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, man, but it got
Shield.
so sad so fast.
They said at this point it's either he retires or Bellator, even though they don't want.
I hate that everybody just defaults Bellator as like this is where everybody's
why not
going.
one?
Well, just because one's not fucking paying anybody what they're actually worth unless they're small.
Oh yeah, because isn't that guy Chatri, whatever his name is an asshole too? I don't know.
Oh, Chatri. Chatri's a... Let's just say he's an interesting dude.
He was the one that tried to make Misha Tate coming out of retirement all about him. He's like, oh yeah.
Yeah. That's 100% the guy. He's also the guy who says that they have one has a potential 800 billion people watching or whatever because it's online.
And because the Asian market.
Yeah. No, yeah, but also is mostly like how many viewers are in Asia on the internet. It was like how the numbers happened. It's fucking bad, dude.
Let me guess. And he goes, oh, well, they could just be flipping their channels and see. I got
No. After that, he just doesn't ever respond. He just starts firing people, I'm pretty sure. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, he's great.
Then Zayn and Eddie talk about O'Malley. Dominant performance against Almeida. I mean, we all saw that coming. Yeah. They said, give us... I don't know if they had heard what Chael had mentioned or something.
I'm sure they weren't listening to Chael.
I don't think they were.
I don't know who does anymore.
Yeah.
I don't...
They said, give us O'Malley versus Cruz next.
Can I just give a quick moment of silence to fucking Joel and when that show used to be listenable, man? What the fuck? Like, Chael, it's so weird that, like, all these dudes who went so hard on the Trump shit are all the same people whose podcasts have become so unlistenable for completely different reasons. Like, if you go to the Joe Rogan, the Ben Askrens, the fucking Chaels, all these people who, like, went so hard on Trump shit all of a sudden kind of stopped having opinions outside of like the same Brendan Schaub ass takes all the time.
You talking about hot comedy takes, B?
Dude, I'm talking about how the homeless cats know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying, B?
Oh, God damn it. Yeah. If you ever want to laugh, just go to the Fighter and the Kids subreddit.
Or the Rogan subreddit at this point.
Yeah, nowadays.
That shit's gotten taken the fuck over too, dude. It's the same people. As soon as you saw the Epic Mealtime people doing fucking the TFATK Reddit bits, you knew that shit was a wrap, dog.
Oh, man. And then, let's see. And, yeah, that's all I had for that one. But that was solid. It was a solid recap.
Definitely. That's one of those shows that I listen to all the time, but I wish I brought up more. Because I always enjoy it, but it's rarely one that by the time we get around to the next fight card, I have as like a top thing to mention, you know?
Yeah.
So that's one of the things about like the benefit of kind of these shows moving around on the day we release is like some stuff feels more relevant than other stuff, you know? Speaking of which, I guess the last one of my catches for this week is Writing and Fighting, the second American University MMA media panel for March 23rd, 2021. Chris, did you get a chance to check this out?
No, because I believe I was working.
Probably. This is, 23rd, so I think it was Tuesday? Yeah, Tuesday. Yeah. Last Tuesday. But this was, I'll read off this panel and you can tell me what you think.
Yeah, please do.
This was the second annual one. This is basically the big media panel that Nancy Kidder does for the Writing and Fighting American University kind of panel series that she does, which we are the biggest fans of. I think it got a bunch of awards on our 2020 MMA Podcast Awards. I should probably have a list of them. I don't, but it got a couple. But that being said, on this panel is Nancy Kidder, Julie Kedzie, Luke Thomas, Brett Okamoto, Charles excuse me, Charles Gigisco, who's an American University grad and works in the business, Esther Lin, Josh Rosenblatt, Laura Cinco, and Fernanda Praches. That's a fucking hell of a panel,
That's
man.
a hell of a panel.
Yeah. And so I'm just going to rattle off the topics they talked about. Stuff like cancel culture and MMA. Gina, I believe this sounds like, and I'm pretty sure is, a Luke Thomas response, is that Gina was aping demonstrably false election fraud allegations, and that was a big part of the reason for all of her cancel culture shit. Which, yeah, it sounds like a Luke Thomas take, and it is 100% accurate. Some other stuff they talked about: how well did the UFC and MMA community react to COVID, or how poorly did they react to it? They talk about there being some eye-opening moments about the people around them during the year 2020, which I think all of the country had, to be honest.
Yeah.
Regardless of sport. They talk about whether the UFC has become mainstream sport with their move to ESPN. Whether we're going to see more events at the Apex, regardless of COVID, going forward. The team at the Athletic getting broken up. They talk about the full capacity at the Jacksonville event and what that could mean. They talk about the fighter survey being kind of a landmark in journalism in recent years, and how there seems to be kind of a consistent lack of quantitative and qualitative data in MMA when it comes to those sort of things, which I thought was a really kind of poignant observation and something you don't really hear a lot about. Because we have a ton of data in MMA, but we have like stats data. We don't have like stats data about like anonymous polls from fighters kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, there needs to be
there needs to be anonymous polls for fighters a lot more often.
Yes, sample groups. What's the term? I'm blanking.
I mean, it could be. You could phrase it a lot of different ways, but really, it's just taking. I mean, there needs to be, the fighters need a way to express their opinion without being singled out individually.
Exactly, 100%.
Because clearly
transparency should be protected.
Yeah, shouts to Leslie Smith and Kajan Johnson.
Yeah,
clearly, fighters cannot express that shit clearly on their own or without severe punishment. Although I will, and I will every time I mention this, Leslie Smith is the reason we have a show logo as her. And also, if you go back and listen to that Kobe Bryant clip with Leslie Smith, listen to who recorded it and was sharing the background. And I think that is the person who really should be the head of that stuff. But I'm not going to say her name or his name because I don't want them to get in trouble. But y'all could probably guess. Anyway, let's see. Some other stuff they talked about. They talked about whether the UFC's become... Oh, wait. I mentioned that. Oh, they talk about the lack of... Nope. Already mentioned that. The Contender Series being the main way to the UFC, and whether a lot of the talent is going to be recruited through the Contender Series. That was kind of a question that was semi-aimed at Laura Senko, and I think in a very politically correct way, she said, well, the UFC, like, it's a consistent way for them to be able to see talent in their own environment, and also they can sign them to deals at a entry amount.
Yeah.
Which was like she very
basically it's Dana going, hey.
Yeah. No, it's the new Ultimate Fighter deal is what it is. It's like, hey, we're not gonna sign you to a 10-figure contract over 7 fights. We're gonna sign you to an undisclosed contract over an undisclosed amount of fights, bro.
Yeah, it's like, hey,
do you want a shot at the UFC?
You look great, and you clearly can market yourself. So let's just keep lowballing you on your initial contract.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't you made yourself look dumb against Derek Brunson? Well,
congratulations, you're on the 10-10 contract still, so let us know how it goes. Yeah.
So far.
Yep. It's yep. It's a thing. And that's going to be a bigger talking point in the sport going forward once more people start getting fucked over by that. Because the turnover rate for the UFC is going to get to the point where a lot of ex-UFC fighters are going to start talking about they just got fucked by Contender Series, because the number of those people is starting to get real big, and I guarantee not enough of them reads the NDA on their contracts to not fuck that up. Because I'm sure there's a severe NDA on those contracts, but it'll be interesting. Anyway, Chris, on that note, we should get into, since we are no longer doing skips for this show, because, I don't know. We can't just yell at Brennan Schaub and Joe Rogan every week, and unless anybody does anything really egregious, we don't really do skips anymore. So, Chris, do you have a can't miss episode for this week?
Not an episode, but a companion. Because
that'll
my
work.
dumbass, well, it's not my fault. It's because there's no one at my job except for me and one other person to serve beer. So I can't really watch the majority of the cards. So luckily, I was able to watch what I didn't see today, along with a very fantastic companion, which I don't know when you want me to get in.
Yeah, jump right into it.
Cool. So I didn't write any. So notes were all mental because I was watching along while doing something else. It was great. I always forget.
You gotta mention who it is? It's the Body Lock.
It's the Body
panel
Lock
with Pat Auger, Matt Wells, and Ant Walker. I believe Drake Riggs dropped in on the pre and post, and then I know I was in chat. Mark Fellows was in chat, who has been hanging out, drinking in chat here. Actually, he mentions the MMA on the Rocks. God damn it, I keep poking my mic. He mentions MMA on the Rocks this week. Actually, mixed a bourbon into a beer can, so I might have to watch some MMA on the Rocks and get back to you guys about that on Friday or Saturday when we record. But yeah, man, it was just a super fun episode, and also you probably got to see the. Wait, did you stick around for the shoey that Mark Fellows made Pat Auger drink?
Fuck, I did not.
Okay, I think that was in the post fight, but yeah, Mark Fellows. You probably did see during the broadcast though. He made that bet with Pat Auger.
Oh no, yeah, it was the Malarkey.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, Mark's the man. Mark's been doing all kinds of. He's been bringing the Aussie justice to the streams lately.
Now I think about it, I think I actually. Okay, so when I started the companion, I had started right at the Abubakar fight, I believe.
Okay, right.
I must have started. So I think I missed about 3. I saw the finish of the first fight, but either way, it was entertaining. I'm just looking at the fight card so I can kind of remember what they were talking about. I know the shoey thing. Jamie Malarkey, when he knocked out Common Worthy, their reaction was pretty hilarious. He's just like, oh no,
you just see. Me and everybody dropping shoes in chat. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, 46 seconds. That was a great finish by Malarkey. Common Worthy.
Dude, I did not see that going that way. I thought Common Worthy for sure was either going to guillotine or KO him in the first, and then Malarkey just came out and bodied dude.
So that was definitely probably one of the main highlights of that fight companion. Miranda Maverick versus Jillian Robinson. They enjoyed this fight a lot because it had a lot of jiu-jitsu, a lot of transitions.
Dude, that fight went exactly how I thought it would, where it looked exactly like the Pro Gonzalez fight or a lot like it.
Yeah, and I remember when I was watching it, they're like, "Oh, Sound of Violence, yeah, good job," pointing out Miranda's run in Invicta, and just to kind of what to look out for.
Yeah, Matt Wells and them are very nice about shouting us out, being like, "Yep, Sound of Violence, great point. You clearly have done homework on Invicta shit." Because I know Matt Wells is a big Invicta fan too.
I know Robertson looked decent at the end of that second round. I know she got back.
Yo, she definitely got scrambly, and I knew she would because they both are very good at getting takedowns. Neither one is great at sustaining top control. Because they both get a little wild just to try and get go for shit. And they both are very good at scrambling and taking the back, just because that's both of their game is kind of just scrambling out the side and taking the back, working a lot of underhook from half guard type shit. And so yeah, it's interesting. I always thought it was going to be fun, and it felt like a classic Invicta style main event kind of fight. I dug it.
Solid fight all around. I like their reactions from it as well. I know, of course, someone in chat Maybe they were thirsty during this fight, but they said, "Hey, your opinion on the hottest fighters and on the roster," and of course they were diplomatic and saying, "Oh, I don't know whose temperature is hot lately. Maybe it's Volkanovski or something like that."
By the way, good joke and well played.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is. Oh, okay, that's a Jordan Breen kiss the fingers kind of chef's moment. Yeah.
The one I also enjoyed a lot was the Sean O'Malley fight.
Here, while you get into this, I am going to be right back.
They pointed out a lot of things that O'Malley and Almeida were kind of just, I don't want to say telegraph. I mean, some of it was not really telegraphing. It was in that what they need to be doing. And whether it was O'Malley tagging Almeida early with a bunch of just clean counters, not even really like a slip counter, because O'Malley was really good with his speed, and I mean that dude's 5'11", he's got the long reach for that class. I mean, he really should probably be a featherweight naturally, or maybe even, well, if he bulked up a lot, he could be a lightweight. But there's a lot of people with frames. If they bulked up, they could do really well at other weight classes as well. I don't know. I'm not going to get into that. It's semantics, right? That being said, yeah, Almeida was kind of gun shy in the beginning. You get O'Malley dropping him. I think it was at the end of the first, or might have been the beginning of the second, and he was being a little flashy, too flashy, trying to go for a walk-off finish. Kind of made himself look stupid. He kind of hit the panic button when Almeida got back up. They were talking about when O'Malley started getting clipped by those inside leg kicks from Almeida. You see O'Malley kind of get back and try to avoid that again, but they said, "Oh, watch your ankle," and he kind of slightly rolls over his right ankle, which is, that might hit your peroneal nerve, right? The one that's in your
perineal,
calf.
but
Perineal, excuse me.
But I mean, to be fair, we might as well start calling that move the Sean O'Malley.
And credit to Almeida, he started getting those leg kicks in pretty and their main thing that they pointed out about
up
Almeida,
until he just stopped doing it entirely.
My thoughts on it is Almeida clipped him a couple times at the 1-2, but he needed to continue with those, just throw more combos, throw more flurries, or at least dip in. I can't be on the couch telling you what the fuck to do. I'm not in there, but it's like, from what you've seen this dude do, from when Almeida was, whether you want to call him knocking out taxi cab drivers or some shit, before he was in the UFC, the dude clear. I mean, he deaded Brad Pickett, whenever the fuck that was. The dude knows how to put his shots certain places, and he did have some success against O'Malley. And
when he started throwing longer combos and kind of just following O'Malley with shots, he started out finding success. It was just a lot of it was just, I think he was so badly hurt so early.
And I can't remember the name of the boxer that used to do this. They mentioned a Teddy Atlas quote about certain fighters that like to have flash over just.
To be honest, I did not listen to the broadcast.
This was these guys. This was
the Body Lock.
They had a great Teddy Atlas quote.
Oh boy,
His name was
I don't
Prince
remember.
Something.
Prince Asim Ahmed.
Prince Asim. Yes.
Prince Asim. I'm butchering that. That. Nope. Kyle from the Fight Side's gonna fucking murder me if I butcher this bad.
Either way, it's fighters who have flash.
Prince Naseem Hamed. I said Hasim Named.
Over composure and kind of focus, I guess.
Yeah.
And I remember they proved that as they're saying that O'Malley goes for a flying knee when he's nowhere near you in
that was bad,
clinch
bro.
distance, and he falls on his ass. And they're like, Almeida, get it, go into his guard, kind of do what Cheeto did. And he just kind of stood there. He's just kicking him in the thighs and in the butt, just kind of trying to weaken the legs a bit, which is all right. But you don't want to do that when there's 10 seconds left. At least try to go for a finish.
Yeah,
it's all in hindsight. Either way, after that, Sean O'Malley kind of figured out his distance, clipped him hard, then finished him with a fucking devastating
That shot was unnecessary.
Dropping the hammer,
it was real close to the Hendo Bisping.
Yeah, it's pretty much what it looked like.
It wasn't like he didn't leave the ground or use the forearm, but it's about as close as you can get without doing those two things.
Yeah. So good finish by O'Malley. I figured he would beat Almeida I didn't know. I mean, I thought it would be a KO for sure. I didn't know it would look like that. Either way, impressive for him. He knows what he's doing, trying to be flashy. He wants to get his name back out there. Apparently, I don't know if Dominic Cruz called him out or if it was vice versa.
I've heard Dom is calling for that, but I don't know.
I don't even know how that fight goes.
I think it'll be an interesting fight. I don't know how much of anything I put on that actually ever happening.
Yeah. So there was that. They had good, and I kind of zoned out when they were talking about Luke Woodley. I mean,
we'll get into some of the other stuff later anyway, but yeah, overall though,
a good companion.
It was a lot of fun, right? Like way better than the commentary, we should say.
Yeah, and
I listened to
for that reason. I
listened to a bit of Rogan DC, and I just can't fucking do it, man. Like I intentionally listened to some of the prelims for just with Rogan DC, because also I was like still finishing up stuff I was doing, and then when I for the main card, I think is when I jumped on the Body Lock stream, and man, it's like a breath of fresh air hearing those dudes instead. Like, holy shit, it's like what Rogan's Fight Companions used to be, except Rogan's Fight Companions used to be about the fights. I'm talking about like the first like 6 of them, probably is about it, until he started drinking super heavy, and Eddie Bravo showed up, and then it just turned into the Alex Jones hour about Flat Earth every fucking. Anyway,
I was in the meetings.
Yeah, that's right. I'm the only one who went to fucking whatever grove, even though there was CBS documentaries about it in the 80s where they let regular reporters in. But we don't talk about that. Black helicopters. Fucking racist. Alex Jones is a racist, if you guys don't know. And Milo's a Nazi. Anyway, we'll get to that later. Chris, so that was one of your can't miss, right?
That was my only, considering, like I said, it's difficult for me to try to binge shows when I gotta. It's tough, dude. It really does frustrate me. It actually pisses me off that I can't just listen to that podcast when I'm at work, and I'm just like, oh, hi, sir, you like this? And I'm not gonna like, oh, fuck you, buddy. Let me listen to what this guy's saying.
Connor Rebush is talking, sir. Please wait.
Sir.
100%. No, I got you. And luckily, like, my gig is 100% like desk work for fucking tech shit, so I have stuff playing always. I'm like the IT crowd up in this bitch where I hit pause, be like, did you restart it? All right, cool, play. And then back to it. But no, I got you. And that's why I be carrying the weight, and I try to throw you some stuff here and there when I think stuff is worth catching. But one of the shows that I absolutely loved this week, which I actually played a clip of on the intro, was MMA Past, Present, and Future, which is, this is actually a new show. I don't know that we've covered this yet. This is the show that Keith Schillen hosts on, I guess it's technically on Loudmouth MMA Network and kind of co-broadcast on Sherdog Radio Network, I believe. It's weird how that deal works. I still don't totally understand it. But I don't care enough to ask business questions about it, to be honest. But MMA Past, Present, and Future normally is Keith Schillen has someone on from, like, someone who is a retired MMA fighter, a current MMA fighter, and a young and up and coming MMA fighter. However, for this one, he had Jens Pulver on in the beginning, and it was such a crazy interview. It just became a Jens Pulver interview, which that'll happen if you talk to, I would say, any Pulver, but especially Jens Pulver or me. I would say we tend to break format. Just I don't know what it is. I think it's an anxiety thing. I want to speak for him, but I know a lot of my panicked over speaking is an anxiety thing, and I think he has a bit of that going on too. So I don't know. But all I will say is, you guys know I'm a humongous Jens Pulver fan. Obviously, it'd be hard not to be. I mean, he's the reason why I knew about the sport. To be honest, like, when I was skating and breaking arm, when I broke my arm skating and shit. Well, I guess that was technically from punching a wall, but when I was young and in hospitals a lot for injuries
Initially,
from
when you said when I
from
was
skating
and breaking arms, I thought you were going around. Wait, hold on, see this guy? Fuck you.
Yeah, no, I was just skating and arm barring motherfuckers. I was like a dope male Ronda Rousey on the boardwalks back in the day. No, fucking. Point being, when I was in and out of hospitals for bone breaks, Jens Pulver tends to come up a lot when your last name is Pulver, and that was part of the reason why I got into MMA. That and of course like the Forrest Griffin Stephen Bonner fight, which we've talked about, which I watched at Harley's house. Actually, you know Harley, that fucking idiot. I say that.
Hey, by the way,
Don't. By the way, careful about getting the Cobra from Harley.
By the way, I was just with Trevor the other day, and we were talking about that infamous Harley incident at Champs.
Dude, yeah, that's a bad one. Why don't we not bring that up?
Repeat what happened, but I remember we were crying, laughing. That
was ridiculous. It was bad. Where we had to shame Harley out of the bar.
What did I do?
We're like, no, you know what you did, bro. And also, like, we can't. Yeah, no, it's not. Anyway.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's why I referred to Harley as my idiot friend Harley. Anyway, way off topic. But the Jens Pulver interview with Keyshawn is an absolute blast. Say an absolute blast. It's rough to listen to. There's. As with a lot of Jens Pulver interviews, that dude is open to a fault or honest to a fault potentially. Again, I think that might just be a Pulver thing. I don't know. It seems to run in the family, but yeah, it's a very tough interview, but it's really fascinating. They talk a lot about the old school Miocic days and coming up in the gym, like who's the hardest worker. Which is really hard to narrow down at a gym full of fucking corn-fed dudes who were all trying to prove that they were the best in the world. And Jens talks about his abusive father in his childhood. And like he talks about getting the call from the corner about his dad. And a lot of talk about how like all of the abuse and the rough childhood made him kind of as driven as he was growing up. Talks about why he thought he should have retired after the Cub loss. And then he talks pretty in depth about his dad being like a violent drunk and like just kind of the things that came from that. As you guys heard on the intro, he talks about the conversation he had with his dad after beating BJ Penn. And like the fact that his dad called him all fucked up at like middle of the night being like, oh, what the fuck? You said that I beat you on air. Because I guess, Chris, you might not know this clip, but he said, what were you thinking when you?
No, I was able to listen to
okay, because I didn't know if I pulled the full part where
you did.
Okay,
yeah, I listened to the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, right, but because it was a very long clip, I pulled a chunk. But yeah, essentially they're talking about like, oh, what were you thinking when you were like in a tough spot? He's like, oh, my dad beat me worse than that every day of my life, and like he's been very open about that. Him and Kevin Randleman, which is why they're probably my two favorite fighters of all time. I've always been very open about the abuse they dealt with, and yeah, man, it's tough shit to hear, but it's why I feel like they're such inspirational people in sports, because those are two dudes who are talking about that kind of shit in a very open way that not a lot of people are comfortable doing, and I don't know. Maybe it's just because I went through similar shit. Maybe it's because I have the same last name. Maybe it's because of a lot of things. But, yeah, man. I think Jens Pulver is a very special person in the sport. And
yeah, absolutely.
I think eventually, over time, people are going to come to realize, like, that era of Jens Pulver, Cal Uno, Dean Thomas, and Eve Edwards, like, and BJ Penn, those five dudes, that was the beginning of the UFC, really, in the way it is nowadays. That lightweight division and it getting canned the way it did is so emblematic of so many things in this sport that ring true today. And yeah, man, I think a lot of that conversation that Keyshawn had with Jens is it's important to hear, and it's cool shit to hear. And man, that's why I'm a huge Jens Pulver fan, and for a billion reasons, last names regardless, and the fact that he's always been very sweet to me on Twitter and stuff regardless. Like, he is one of the few people in the sport that I'm always like, that's a motherfucker I can fuck with. Like, he always just seems he's on that same kind of. I put him on that tier like a Demetrius Johnson when they're like, man, end of the day, like, you seem to just be a real ass dude who's just trying to be like a good person. And
I think you could say that about George St. Pierre as well.
GSP, 100%, yeah.
Yeah.
And like Jens wasn't always that dude, and Jens would be the first to admit that, I think, but he definitely, especially in recent years, like, man, him on Twitch is like a really special experience, and he's like a very nice dude on there. So I'm probably just getting emotional and fucking sappy, but I really think that it was a really special interview.
It's meaningful, and that's important. And I know that dude, way, how with his transparency, whether it's through his through being on a podcast, through his Twitch streams, it's important, man. It's good. It's good that fighters are able to do that, whether they're active or they're retired. We need more of that, really, because you look at all the other major sports. You get NFL stars. Not many of them. There are some. There's a few NFL stars that talk about the way they were raised, their childhood, right? But you don't really see that, in the four major sports. You don't see that in NBA, baseball. It's just kind of more like, oh, I love playing the game. You should too, right?
Right. And a lot of team sports don't kind of lend to individual stories the way that,
of course,
stuff like MMA or even like a tennis or like an individual sport in general does. So. Or like a F1 or that kind of thing. So that's why, very much so, though. I feel like, especially in combat sports, like dudes like Jens Pulver, dude is still crazy articulate and like out here on Twitch breaking down fights on the regular. I think he's doing he's also working with TJ Santos, and I believe he's working with TJ Santos occasionally, as well as the UFC's Twitch streams to do some like recap stuff too.
Okay.
So it's on their Facebook page, which is like, and on Twitch, which is like some big stuff they've been doing. So I highly recommend it. Like, if you guys are ever looking for some Twitch content, Jens Pulver is a lot of times just hanging out watching old fights, and we'll just talk to you about old fights if you're interested. And it's a blast, man. It's a lot of fun. So, and he loves it more than you do, probably. So, I highly recommend it. And just a great dude. Speaking of great dudes, last catch I have for this week, or can't miss, I'm sorry, for this week, is Dan Tom. Oh, man. So Dan Tom on this episode, Dan went in a little bit, and I was kind of curious to see how it would play off the last episode, because on UFC, or on episode 250 of his podcast, Protecting Neck, he mentioned briefly that, like, MMA community's been real quiet about all the fucking hashtag Stop Asian Hate stuff, whereas they've been real loud about literally every other political movement or, like, supportive movement or non-supportive movement at all. And there's just crickets about this shit. And it's fucking heartbreaking, and he's absolutely right. And it's awkward, especially when the UFC is constantly reaching out to the Bruce Lee estate, pimping them out for content. It's weird, and it's a very, very relevant thing that Dan Tom brings up.
It's not just weird; it's just wrong. Like,
well, it's not. It's not just wrong, but it's like it's weird how it's not only not even brought up, but just absent from conversation. Like, Dan's the only person I've heard bring this up.
Yeah, it's fucked up, and it comes as no surprise. I mean, just look at the UFC's efforts to, celebrate Black History Month. There's not going to be any efforts to, if they could. Not that I'm trying to say there should be any sort of preferential treatment of, a minority group. It doesn't matter. There needs to be, exposure to anything wrong that's going on, especially against human beings. Especially in this country, especially in a fucking sport where I would say the majority of a lot of martial arts are deeply rooted in Asian culture.
Yeah.
Subculture. So, like, that's, when a lot of people think martial arts, stereotypically they think kung fu, right?
Or at least someone says Bruce Lee eventually.
Yeah.
Also, mixed is the main word in the martial arts, as we referenced in last week's episode. So, yeah, it's fucking frustrating. So, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna link in our non-MMA related stuff, our well-rounded stuff. I'm gonna link the podcast that Worst Year Ever did, which is the rise of Asian American hate crimes, and which is the podcast hosted by Robert Evans along with Katie and, oh God, what is the dude's name? It starts with the J. I apologize to dude. I love him. He's great. I follow him on Twitter. I can't remember. I can't remember his goddamn name for the life of me. But it's a very interesting podcast where they sit down with Christopher Wong to discuss the rise in Asian hate crimes, and they talk a lot about some organizations you can support. So we will have a link to that in the episode description on soundofviolence.com, or if you're listening to this on a podcast, it should be in your podcast player. If your podcast player is any good, that'll be the first link in our well-rounded section. But on top of that, while Dan Tom did talk about all that, and I think it's very important that he did, because honestly, I haven't heard anyone else talking about it, and that's problematic. He also went on to talk about last weekend's card as well as to preview this card. And Dan Tom is low-key dropping knowledge on everybody every week in ways that you guys should be paying way more attention to if you're at all, especially if you're a bettor. While Dan did go 4-6 on his picks last week, as he said, because he's very honest and he time links everything and he cites everything, he also did come up with a lot of really, really effective takes, both on last week's card and on this week's card. The first of which I think played a lot into the main event, which we'll get to eventually here. But Dan Tom brought up that he thinks Stipe might not be able to see right hands as well anymore after the DC eye poke.
Oh yeah,
and because if you go watch the DC fight after the two fights after that. Stipe eats every right hand. Like, he doesn't not eat right hands. He just absorbs them. But he eats crazy numbers of shots in those fights. And it's specifically from that side that he got poked on. And so, that is something that it's one of those things that I had not picked up on. But as soon as Dan said it, I was like, oh, shit. That is actually kind of a thing that is probably relevant. And then I actually brought it up, I think, in the Body Lock chat. And everybody in the Body Lock chat was like, oh, shit. I think that might be relevant. And it's one of those things where, like, Dan is very good at that kind of tape study. Also, Dan Tom was the one person saying, Eric Nixick is telling me, don't be surprised if we see Francis Ngannou hit a counter takedown against Stipe. Which, after seeing that wrestling performance, if that fight would have gone 2 rounds, I think we would have seen a counter takedown for Francis. Like, I think that's a very possible outcome. If Stipe extended, that Francis would have shot. I mean, he basically shot a takedown off of. He spun and took the back off of a stuffed takedown attempt. Yep. And like, if there was more wrestling exchanges, I don't necessarily doubt that he would have actually went for one. So, I think Dan Tom is low-key giving out some of the best pick advice and just the best reads in the business right now. And if you're not listening to him for a multitude of reasons, whether it be just that he's a great dude and has sweet skate video takes, or whether he is talking about difficult subjects, even though he is the dude who tries to avoid that stuff. Really, the people who aren't for Dan Tom's show, I don't think are for MMA podcasts. Like,
I agree.
I think that dude's show is a must listen every week. If for no other reason, then you'll get a great joke out of it. So, let's see, Chris, do you have any new shows this week?
I do not, unfortunately.
So I have a very, very short and succinct new show, which I fucking loved. The Fight Site has a new show called the Combat Sports News Recap, or at least that's what the first episode was called. This came out on March 26th, 2021. It's hosted by Iggy, of course, host of Tengra Dome. who we are big fans of. I love me some Iggy. That dude's delivery is some of the best in the business. He talks about the Holland versus Brunson results. He talks about weight misses and opponent changes that happen on the card. And then he goes through and reads off results and all that. He talks about the wacky meme man, Kevin Holland. He talks about Gordon Ryan signing with ONE. And then he has a brief preview for UFC 260. It's just a tight, 13-ish minute show where it's a quick news hit. It reminds me a lot of what Esther Lin used to do on MMA Fighting for a little bit, where she had that quick news roundup show that she was doing, where just a bunch of quick hits that was 15 minutes. I really liked the format, and I liked when Esther Lin did it. I like it more when Iggy does it because there's honestly funnier jokes and his accent's great. But I mean, I like the format regardless, and I'd like to see more of it. We could use more tight news recap shows in the MMA sphere because honestly there's not a lot of them, right? Damon Martin did one for a little bit that I don't think he's doing anymore. MMA Fighting is kind of flirted with that off and on but not really stuck to it. I don't know, Bloody Elbow, I mean they've touched on some new stuff, but really Trent Ryan Smith is kind of a totally different thing, similar but different. So yeah, I really like that format for them, and Iggy's delivery and joke style fits that format very well. So I dig it for sure. Do you have any honorable mentions, Chris?
Yeah, I like the level change, Bloody Elbow's level change.
Hell yeah, it was a really good one.
Yeah, a lot of it was talking about Miesha Tate, for the most part, and her return.
Episode 116, I believe.
Yep. And them shitting on Chaudhry. I always forget his last name. But
yep. Citradon.
Yes, Citradon. And then MMA on the Rocks is my other honorable mention.
Yeah, that was the one.
Post fight. Yeah.
Yeah, the post fight. Well,
it was
wait.
the night. It was episode 234.
Is that the one that just came out yesterday?
Yeah.
So wait, you actually did see the one that Mark brought up in chat where he was mixing bourbon into a beer can.
That's right. Yeah, he was. Okay, I remember Bill Welker talking about it. He's like, "Yeah, I'm too lazy to go get another beer, so I have a can here." So
wait, did he really?
Bourbon.
What?
Yeah,
what beer did he mix it into? Do you remember?
Fuck, I can't remember.
It would have been some New York thing, probably. Huh.
Yeah,
what
I can't
do you
recall,
remember? Do you remember what bourbon?
I know Jeff was shitting on him for it. He's like, "Really, dude? You know?"
You mean Bill?
Or was it Jeff that was doing it? I thought Bill. No, Bill was the one who was pouring bourbon into his beer.
Wait, Bill was or Jeff was? That seems like a Jeff move.
I'm pretty sure it was Bill that was doing it.
Really? Yeah, the redhead?
What's up?
The redhead? The dude who sounds like the redhead?
I mean, the guy who's the main host.
Yeah,
right?
Bill.
Yeah, him. I'm pretty sure it was him because he always has whiskey next to him.
Well, then, okay, I trust that Bill probably poured it into an appropriate beer, like a Madura from Cigar City or something like that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Bill that did it, though. Unless, because...
okay, I'm going to have to go... You know what? On the break, I'm going to go do some research on this. I'm going to get you guys a beer and a whiskey for whatever the fuck this was, because I feel like we need to report accurately on it. And I appreciate Mark Fellows for shouting it out. Fucking hell yeah, man. Let's see. So, do you have any other honorable mentions?
I do not.
All right. Well, then I got a handful. The Bash, Season 1, Episode 39.
If you don't mind, I've been having to go to the bathroom, so I'm going to do that real quick.
Sure. But Chris, before you go, This is the second to last episode of The Bash.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, they're ending it next week, so we're going to have to cover that.
We will, yeah. That's a shame.
Yeah.
Did they say why?
No, just that they're kind of wrapping it for now. They're being kind of vague.
Huh.
I think they kind of just didn't get the kind of numbers they were expecting, or their host didn't. But they also just recently this week changed their episode number titles to be Season 1 episode whatever, which that's brand new.
So probably rebrand.
So there might be a rebrand in the near future, yeah. So
well,
go ahead and take that break.
I'll be back.
And I will rattle through some of these honorable mentions. We talked about Heavy Hands 361, talked about Vivisection 260, Jack Slag and May podcast, episode 17, super solid. Talks about Stipe versus Ngannou mostly, Almeida versus Sean O'Malley. The O stands for osteoporosis. Fucking one of the best jokes this week by far. Co-main event podcast, episode 445, The Sad Ballad of the Great Bombardier. This is a really good episode. Of course, a lot of talk about Kevin Holland and the I'll Follow You Home Bitch discussions. Of course, also the Jacksonville event and Dana White hating all of the fans. The live chat for the CME for March 24th, 2021 was very solid as well. Ben got them Modernas on deck, evidently. And his second shot is gone 420. So that can only end well. I would suggest doing the weed peanut butter cups after the shot. But hey, you do you, Ben, folks. Man of the Myth. UFC 260 preview is pretty solid. Pete Carroll guested. Definitely liked that one quite a bit. Also, Pete did tease in this episode that Patty Pimblett was going to be signing with the UFC this week. He basically said Patty Pimblett was going to be signing with the UFC this week, and then was like, that's not confirmed, but, rumors are. Not confirmed, though. You didn't hear it from me, which was a big-ass tell. Speaking of which, Severe May episode 304 was very solid as well, and they talk a lot about whether Patty is headed for the UFC. So, everybody in the scene kind of knew, but it was good to see Patty kind of get the signing. And I love to see me some Patty the Batty over in the UFC. I think it's nothing but fun fights for that dude, I'm sure. Just don't give him wrestlers for his first fucking 2 fights, please. Let's see. Also on that on the Severe MMA 304, talk about the KSW main event falling apart, and how the UFC card last week was pretty rough. Also on the Severe MMA podcast premium this week, Sean Sheehan and Team Graham update. They did a big update for the first time, I think, since near the beginning of the Patreon, from what I remember. A long time ago, they did their top 10 fighters and their team mascot kind of a pick, where it's, as best as I could tell, it's just who they want to represent their team kind of a thing, whether it be people who they think are winning, whether it be people who they think are just up and comers that you need to keep an eye on. Kind of varies, but it was a lot of fun. The discussion was just cool as hell. I'm not even gonna throw names out there because out of context it's not gonna mean much. But they each picked their top 10 and a mascot, it's just they recap their original teams and look at how they've aged. I thought it was cool. I dug it quite a bit. Speaking of some of the Fight Site guys who've been creeping in chat, the Fight Site resume review for Stipe was absolutely fucking awesome. Ed Gallo went through and looked at Stipe's fight with Reem and Ngannou in the second DC fight. And that really, really, really made me nervous coming into this. Because I was pretty confident in Stipe prior to watching that. And then after watching that, I was like, oh, I don't know. Well, Stipe's shit can possibly hold up at this point. Also, speaking of the Fight Site, the predictions for UFC 260 with Ed Gallo, Ben Cohn, Iggy, and Dan Albert were dope as hell. I really enjoyed those, even though they got way off the rails. And I think, at least Dan Albert showed up in chat tonight. So, shouts to that dude. Fight Site MMA podcast episode 41 was really solid. The recap of Brunson vs. Holland. Ed talks about how frustrating it was to watch Kevin Holland kind of fuck around during that fight after just coming off the NCAA tourney where everyone's trying their absolute fucking hardest at everything, which I thought was kind of a really solid take, and I could totally see how that'd be extremely frustrating. Speaking of which, Ed's episode for the Wrestling for MMA podcast, episode 30, was really good. It's a big recap for the NCAA tournament for collegiate wrestling, and a brief recap of the Brunson vs. Holland card. Definitely recommend that. Best Camp of My Life, episode 22. Fernanda talks about weight cutting and people reacting appropriately to Colby Covington's dumb fucking comments. Let's see. SWAT MMA was really solid, episode 95. They were smoking some watermelon Skittles live resin and some Mac 1 and some duct tape, which I haven't heard of duct tape, but it kind of makes sense when you hear it's Gorilla Glue crossed with Do-si-dos. So they recap last weekend's UFC card and do the commentary and talk about how the commentary teams are kind of terrible for the UFC. That's just too many anecdotes and jokes, which, hard to argue with there. So, super solid overall. I definitely fucking enjoyed it, man. Let's see. Do you have any well-rounded stuff you want to shout out, Chris, before we go on this break?
Yeah, some really good ones. Let me. I need to start including them in my notes again because it's more or less me listening to podcasts and just not write shit down. Anyways,
fuck it. I'm gonna pour a fucking finger of this while you're talking. Go ahead.
So, of course I listened to a bunch of baseball shit this coming week because this Thursday's opening day.
Because Chris likes white dude sports. Let's be real.
It's America's pastime. It's not. It's not.
So is hanging black people, Chris. So take it easy with the America's pastime shit.
Hey, you said it, not me. But you're not wrong.
I mean,
unfortunately. Anyways, opening day is this Thursday. It's a good time to be a Padres fan.
Is it?
It's a good time to jump on the fucking bandwagon.
I'll
tell you what. I'll tell you this, Chris. If you get yourself a Padres hat, people are like, "Wow, you know, okay." You know.
To be fair, I would like to shout out Cookies San Diego, the dispensary. Did just get a bunch of really dope Cookies branded San Diego shit. So if you want like a swinging fryer smoking a joint,
okay, I want
with
that.
the Cookies logo.
Is there like a sticker? Because I need that.
You can get a shirt that's the Cookie logo with the swinging fryer smoking a joint while he's missing.
Okay,
it's really good.
You
have to go to the dispensary in La Mesa, but it might be worth the trip, bro. By the way, they got that fire. Oh. Actually, Chris, you know what? You want to get into my well-rounded? Because it's the Cookies dispensary in La Mesa. Here, look, I got the bag right here. Here, let's get into some of the shit I got, Chris. So, they had a big sale, right? I don't shout out dispensaries that much. March and Ash is dope in San Diego. They're really the only people I fuck with. Them and Speedy Weedy. Because most times shit's too expensive if you go to most clubs. The Cookies Club is expensive as shit. However, they had a sale where the shit was like 65% off. So, nice. I got this eighth of Money Trees, which is a Kim driver. I got that eighth for $20. I got this eighth of, well, it used to be an eighth, of Pissing Excellence. Yeah, California weed has bad names. Pissing Excellence. This was what was it? It was an eighth of High Octane OG rather. I got that for $20. I got eighth of the Lemonade New York Haze for $20. I got an eighth of the Mojave Reserve Modified Grapes, which is like a, I don't know, 31 something percent strain. They got that for $20. I got let's see, I got some Panacea Purple DDV, which I believe is, what the fuck does that stand for? Something stupid. Double Deja Vu, I think is the name of it. I don't know. But that's a 28% strain that I got for I think $25, and then I got some.
Come up here.
And then I got some apple fritter from Fresh Baked, and that shit was like $30.
Did they have Snickerdoodle too?
Nah. I mean, I did get some Do-si-do, something. I forget what.
Go.
But point is, Cookie San Diego had some come ups, so I figure since honestly, those are the craziest prices. Most of these eights are like $60+ normally. So I got them for literally, like the Fresh Baked eighth. This is $70 eighth pre-tax, so it'd be like $85.90 post-tax. And I got it for $20 plus whatever the regular tax would be, so like $40 or $50. It's pretty fucking insane. So, shouts to Cookies La Mesa, I guess is my point.
Hell yeah, man! I'm gonna have to stop by to get myself. I said meself. Jesus, like I'm English or Irish now.
Dude,
give myself a t-shirt.
Dude, I'll share you on the post. You're gonna have to cop at least one or two of them because they have some.
Are the colors brown and gold like they should
dude,
be?
it's a Dude, I'm telling you, they have a brown and gold. They got a fucking. I'm telling you, you might cop all three. They're so dope.
Like anyone who doesn't know like diehard Padres or San Diego sports, majority of those fans are in East County because San Diego, all the transplants, go live downtown, neighborhoods. There's a shit ton of Padres fans in Claremont, though. I definitely, because I was at Tap House the other day. Everyone's fucking ready. Tap House is having an event on Thursday. I'm gonna try to reserve a table or two.
Hell
I know
yeah.
gonna have a good group of people there, and
yeah, but Claremont, Mission Valley, and then a lot of people used to live by the Q, now even La Mesa and shit, because that's what the price that around the Q used to be.
yeah.
R.I.P. to Qualcomm. Damn.
Yeah, that was a bummer. I was driving by. I was like, "Fuck, it's gone."
Yeah, man. That was that's some childhood shit. That makes me sad.
Anyways, a well-rounded. I'll just
rattle them off.
Mostly pop culture shit this week. I actually watched the Zack Snyder cut of Batman, or not of Justice League.
Oh no, you did not.
So I cheated. I watched it in 2 separate days because why the fuck would you watch?
Oh yeah, don't watch it all. No,
you're out of your fucking mind. Yeah. It was decent, but it wasn't like amazing. I think the only person that said people think they're amazing are I think mostly Zack Snyder fans, and they're just sad that
just like white girls
over.
who really don't like their dads,
or dudes who liked 300 a lot.
Okay, yeah. One of those.
Watchmen. They put Watchmen on a pedestal.
Watchmen.
Better.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
show's better.
Okay.
The show's better.
As a property, Watchmen is great. As
yes, the graphic novels. Everything.
As a movie.
No, movies, whatever. Show's better. I think that's just a fact.
That is, widely accepted. And the books are better than that, right?
Yeah. Anyways, I watched that. Whatever. The one thing that's coming out Wednesday. I know my roommate Victor. We're all gonna do a watch party. I'm off on Wednesday. Godzilla versus King Kong is a thing, and it's coming on HBO. And I'm gonna get very fucking high and watch that.
That's an edible movie right there.
Yes. Yeah. I'm all about the CGI. I think that's gonna be a fun. It's not gonna be good besides the action, and I'm all for it. That should be fun. Other than that, there was a fucking game. What was it? I gotta get on some what was that one game? Remember the physics-based game we were playing, that Fall Guys? They now have they have squads now. We should try that.
Oh nice, hell yeah.
Yeah. That's always a chill as fuck game.
I'd fuck with
that, and then I know, but yeah.
Dude, you gotta get in on Session, bro.
Is that on just PlayStation in general?
No, it's on oh wait, you got rid of your Xbox, didn't you?
No, I have it.
Okay, well it's on Xbox. It's on Xbox One. It's the skate. It's like $10, $20. Okay. And it's like basically just a very, very,
it's like a simulator, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's like
realism?
So imagine if Skate was Skate,
with like Forza, but like
closer to a Formula One. Because
okay, so the F1 game.
It's very semi, because everything is supposed to be to fairly realistic physics, and then one stick is back foot, one stick is front foot.
Oh shit.
So it's like Skate, but it's like double the difficulty. Because
I'm into it.
And then you're like,
dude, honestly,
it's
right
tight.
now,
I'm telling you, you'll fucking.
I have no reason to go back to my Xbox at this point.
Yeah.
Just because I the last time I got live was like for free, and then I just.
The learning curve.
I have a fucking PS5. Why am I gonna go back to my Xbox?
Well, that's true too.
But One
Well,
thing.
worst case you can get Skater XL for the PS5, but I would not recommend it.
Shout out to the homie Trevor. He finally picked up his PS4 that I sold him.
Shit, I need to get
PS4.
that dude the copy of Spider-Man that I have right fucking here waiting for him.
Hey, since I'm fully vaxxed, I could always just stop by if
You
that's
know,
easier too.
we might. You know what we'll do, Chris? I will. I'll buy a case off your brewery, and you can pick up that. How about that? We'll make a
Whatever you
trade
wanna
for
do.
it.
Either way, he texted me yesterday night. He's like, bro, this God of War game's absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. He's like, this game is fucking incredible.
Yeah, because he hasn't played like console shit in
No.
a while.
Yeah. I had the Crash Bandicoot trilogy too. That was one.
Oh yeah, me and him used to fucks
Yeah.
with that shit. Yeah.
So, shouts to him because I know that dude is about to be just enveloped in homework.
Oh, for sure.
He
Yeah.
just started up school again today.
For his masters, right?
Yeah, he's in a grad school program at UC Davis. So.
That's right. We got friends who are fucking goddamn chemistry experts, evidently, but like not the Jesse Pinkman kind. I mean, we probably got those friends too, but they're not in school.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, on that note, actually, you guys know Trevor. You heard him on episode 200.
100. But spoiler
100,
alert,
right?
he is gonna be on episode 200.
He will be 100%. We are still trying to figure out what we're going to do for episode 200. Ed Gallo suggested we have a party, and I kind of want to do that,
Okay.
but I don't know how we're going to pull that off. So
Yeah.
we might end up doing like a two-parter where we do like a commentary with Trevor, and then we do like a party Zoom or something.
Because what episode are we doing right now? 191.
Dude, who fucking knows because of our release schedule right now? Like, I don't even know what week it's going to be. We still got a little ways, so we got a couple months to figure it out. So, however, we are going to be doing a episode this coming weekend, even though there's no UFC card. I'd like to anyway, if you're down, because there is a dope ass Bellator card.
That's right.
Their
Is
big
that the start of
return-
the light heavyweight thing.
Yeah, their big return event is this weekend.
Okay.
So we will do that this weekend. But in the meantime, my well-rounded shit, real quick. I'm just gonna rattle them off.
Of course.
I already shouted out Cookie San Diego, and I waved like 800 different kinds of weed in front of the camera that I picked up for like I think I spent $170 on what should have been like $400 worth of weed, and that's with paying like the full tax on all the stuff that was on sale. It's just fucking insane. Also, the Whiskey Vault. I should shout out the Whiskey Vault YouTube channel is where that's like they're one of my go-to booze channel review places. I mean, How to Drink is probably my like number one, but that's more of like a cocktail show. Whereas the Whiskey Vault, they basically just are straight whiskey review channel, and it's fucking great. You get a lot of really good takes from stuff that's super affordable and you can almost always find it in your region to stuff that's very hard to find and super obscure. It's just a great resource. They're located in Austin, Texas for now. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, great fucking whiskey channel. I recommend that. Doug Stanhope podcast, episode 438, Sam Tallent's audiobook release episode. Sam Tallent wrote the book Running the Light, which was absolutely fucking fantastic. I actually originally knew Sam Tallent, weirdly enough, from the Marijuana Radio Show, which I listened to as a podcast back in, this must have been in maybe 2008 or 2009, maybe, is when I heard Sam Tallent. Since then, Sam Tallent has become a real-ass comic, has been doing the road forever, and wrote a whole-ass book about stand-up comedy that Doug Stanhope is like a huge fan of and has been endorsing. It's fucking great. If you guys don't like stand-up comedy, it's a fiction book about a like kind of a fictional stand-up character, but it's so fucking good. I mean,
Is the fictional stand-up character's name Brandon?
No. But
Brenda? Excuse me.
No, but honestly, it's a like the best fucking credit I can give it is that Doug Stanhope says it's the best book about stand-up he's ever read.
Oh, nice.
Like, he always says, anytime he does an interview about it, you know how every time you've ever seen anything about stand-up and it never feels like actual stand-up? Doug Stanhope says this is the most thing he's ever seen or read or experienced that is actually like what it's like to be on the road. And so I don't think I could possibly give it a better endorsement than that. Let's see. Some other things to give a shout-out to. Knowledge Fight Podcast. Holy shit, it's my absolute favorite. They're just exposing Alex Jones, and it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. If you guys are ever curious about where Joe Rogan gets all of his bad takes about vaccines, go ahead and listen to some Alex Jones. Or actually, don't do that. Listen to Knowledge Fight Podcast. Don't listen to Alex Jones, because he'll try and sell you fucking iodine toothpaste. Anyway, Good Burger. I watched Good Burger last night, Chris. You know how much better that movie is than you think it is?
Yeah, there's a lot of movies that I've watched recently that I saw as a kid, and I'm like, wow, this is way better than I remembered.
90s movies are bangers. I'm telling you right now.
I'm a dude. He's a dude.
You don't remember there's a whole ass ska song they recorded for that?
I vaguely remember what it's
During
the melody
during
of
the
it,
middle of that,
yeah.
during the middle of that, there's a legit fucking upstroke full-on ska song where Kel is singing it, and it's really good.
If you look at the actors involved in that,
they're all dude. It's a lot. Linda Cardinelli was in that shit.
Yeah, that, and then look at where Kenan Thompson is now. That dude still looks the same, and he has like his own show on NBC now, and he's still on SNL. Yeah, killing it.
My question is, where is Lori Beth Denberg? Because I need.
Yeah, that's right.
Some stuff for my everyday life. I forget what her segment was.
Yeah, I forget.
But she was great in that too. Anyway,
where's Mondo Burger? Oh, wait, is that Ho Dad's?
Dude, no, it was 100% fat burger. It was 100%.
What's up?
It's 100% fat burger. Yeah. But oh god, that movie's way better. Well, also
put you in the grind.
Dude, I also was on a lot of edibles when I watched it, so take that for what it's worth. Shouts out to the Friendly Farms apple fritter tincture. You fucking me up. Let's see. Heaven's Gate. I've been watching the Heaven's Gate documentary on HBO Max. Shouts to San Diego.
God damn it, that's right.
To be fair, it started in Oregon like all good cults.
Shit.
Yeah, it's been depressing but interesting. And then other than that, I've been playing a shitload of Skater XL, which is it's like Session, but it's available on PS4. And they've actually been putting out a couple updates. I mean, if you guys have a PC, you should be playing it on PC. But it is, again, a very semi-skateboarding game, and it's a fucking blast, man. Shit. One of these days, maybe I'll put up a fucking... I'll edit up a 90s ass skate video of some clips from that game and fucking post it somewhere. But I've literally been just having a 90s ass experience and some skateboarding stuff lately, and I've been loving it. Maybe it's just because I'm in PB and the sun's out, and PB when the sun's out, it's got some fucking strong 90s skate vibes, you know what I mean? But I don't know. I've been digging it, so highly recommend it. And then some skate videos I'm planning on watching this week, if you guys are interested. It is Colin Reed's Spirit Quest, Liberty's Horror, and Sub-Zero's Real Life. Since I am currently working my way through the what they refer to, what is the name of it? It's wooden. What the fuck is the name of the Useless Wooden Knowledge? Has their what they refer to as the brackets, which of course they play on the barracks, where they essentially took a bracket of all the greatest skate videos of all time, and they did a bracket to have everybody vote on them last year. And so I've been watching my way through those, and god damn it, is it all bangers, bro. Oh my god, it's so many bangers. A Shorty's Guilty isn't even on the list. That's how many bangers there are. But yeah, it's been a blast. I've been loving that. So we're going to take a break, and then Chris, we're going to come back and talk about this UFC 260 card very quickly, if I'm being honest, because I got some takes, but not a ton.
It's more or less just going to be us saying what we already said, kind of.
Yeah, and being like, oh my god, Ngannou can fight.
I think I'm mostly just gonna be like, okay, what's next for this person, kind of thing. So,
Yeah.
Yep.
I just got depressed thinking about the co-main event.
Oh no.
All right. Well, we're gonna be back, and until then, you guys can hear this clip of Dan Tom talking about why the fuck everybody is disappointing, man. That's my words, not his. But god damn it. Anyway, we'll be right back.
Liked by the sound of violence.
Ironically enough, in a community full of martial artists, people getting bullied and targeting doesn't seem to garner much empathy. In fact, in a community of martial artists, there's very little empathy to be found from fighters to fans, which suck. And in the community of MMA, where most of us make our money from fighters, fans who gamble, or just rely on them as their entertainment, or media people like me, or the promotions themselves, it was like fucking crickets for Stop Asian Hate in comparison to a multitude of many other topics, race-related or not. And it's sad, but even more sad because it's not exactly surprising. And again, oh, Dan on an Asian thing, fuck me and fuck an Asian thing. Isn't it just ironic? Can we just for a second clear our biases and feelings for a second? How ironic is it in a community full of martial artists and a community of people make their money off martial arts that there's just fucking pretty much crickets?
Liked by the sound of violence.
Ironically enough, in a community full of martial artists, people getting bullied and targeting doesn't seem to garner much empathy. In fact, in a community of martial artists, there's very little empathy to be found from fighters to fans, which suck. And in the community of MMA, where most of us make our money from fighters, fans who gamble, or just rely on it as their entertainment, or media people like me, or the promotions themselves, it was like fucking crickets for Stop Asian Hate in comparison to a multitude of any other topics, race-related or not. And it's sad, but even more sad because it's not exactly surprising. And again, oh, Dan on an Asian thing, fuck me and fuck an Asian thing. Isn't it just ironic? Can we just for a second clear our biases and feelings for a second? How ironic is it in a community full of martial artists and a community of people make their money off martial arts that there's just fucking pretty much crickets?
Liked by the sound of violence.
Ironically enough, in a community full of martial artists, people getting bullied and targeting doesn't seem to garner much empathy. In fact, in a community of martial artists, there's very little empathy to be found from fighters to fans, which suck. And in the community of MMA, where most of us make our money from fighters, fans who gamble, or just rely on it as their entertainment, or media people like me, or the promotions themselves, it was like fucking crickets for Stop Asian Hate in comparison to a multitude of any other topics, race-related or not. And it's sad, but even more sad because it's not exactly surprising. And again, oh, Dan on an Asian thing, fuck me and fuck an Asian thing. Isn't it just ironic? Can we just for a second clear our biases and feelings for a second? How ironic is it in a community full of martial artists and a community of people make their money off martial arts, that there's just fucking pretty much crickets.
Liked by the sound of violence.
Ironically enough, in a community full of martial artists, people getting bullied and targeting doesn't seem to garner much empathy. In fact, in a community of martial artists, there's very little empathy to be found from fighters to fans, which suck. And in the community of MMA, where most of us make our money from fighters, fans who gamble, or just rely on it as their entertainment, or media people like me, or the promotions themselves, it was like fucking crickets for Stop Asian Hate in comparison to a multitude of any other topics, race-related or not. And it's sad, but even more sad because it's not exactly surprising. And again, oh, Dan on an Asian thing, fuck me and fuck an Asian thing. Isn't it just ironic? Can we just for a second clear our biases and feelings for a second? How ironic is it in a community full of martial artists, and a community of people make their money off martial arts, that there's just fucking pretty much crickets?
by the sound of violence.
Ironically enough, in a community full of martial artists, people getting bullied and targeting doesn't seem to garner much empathy. In fact, in a community of martial artists, there's very little empathy to be found from fighters to fans, which suck. And in the community of MMA, where most of us make our money from fighters, fans who gamble, or just rely on it as their entertainment, or media people like me, or the promotions themselves, it was like fucking crickets for Stop Asian Hate in comparison to a multitude of many other topics, race-related or not. And it's sad, but even more sad because it's not exactly surprising. And again, oh, Dan on an Asian thing, fuck me and fuck an Asian thing. Isn't it just ironic? Can we just for a second clear our biases and feelings for a second? How ironic is it in a community full of martial artists and a community of people make their money off martial arts that there's just fucking pretty much crickets?
Liked by the sound of violence.
Ironically enough, in a community full of martial artists, people getting bullied and targeting doesn't seem to garner much empathy. In fact, in a community of martial artists, there's very little empathy to be found from fighters to fans, which suck. And in the community of MMA, where most of us make our money from fighters, fans who gamble, or just rely on it as their entertainment, or media people like me, or the promotions themselves, it was like fucking crickets for Stop Asian Hate in comparison to a multitude of many other topics, race-related or not. And it's sad, but even more sad because it's not exactly surprising. And again, oh, Dan on an Asian thing, fuck me and fuck an Asian thing. Isn't it just ironic? Can we just for a second clear our biases and feelings for a second? How ironic is it in a community full of martial artists and a community of people make their money off martial arts that there's just fucking pretty much crickets?
Liked by the sound of violence.
Ironically enough, in a community full of martial artists, people getting bullied and targeting doesn't seem to garner much empathy. In fact, in a community of martial artists, there's very little empathy to be found from fighters to fans, which suck. And in the community of MMA, where most of us make our money from fighters, fans who gamble, or just rely on it as their entertainment, or media people like me, or the promotions themselves, it was like fucking crickets for Stop Asian Hate in comparison to a multitude of any other topics, race-related or not. And it's sad, but even more sad because it's not exactly surprising. And again, oh, Dan on an Asian thing, fuck me and fuck an Asian thing. Isn't it just ironic? Can we just for a second clear our biases and feelings for a second? How ironic is it in a community full of martial artists and a community of people make their money off martial arts that there's just fucking pretty much crickets?
All right, everyone, we're back.
Yeah, we are.
We are back to quickly recap UFC 260, Miocic versus Ngannou 2.
That's right.
This went down Saturday, March 27th, at the UFC Apex, as I get something into my eye. Apex being an important distinction because the octagon is a lot smaller. Or just smaller.
It's significantly smaller. Also, before we get into that, we should also shout out something which I forget to do every single fucking week. But we should shout out our buddy Sammy, who has the album Gradients, aka his name as a producer is Mustachio. I have his cassette tape. Because he's a fucking hipster who would put out a cassette tape. But you guys can also find him on SoundCloud or on, I believe, Amazon. We have links in the description on every episode where you can find his music. And he does all of the beats that we do for all the shows. So I should shout him out way more often, and I'm a fuckboy for not doing so. So shouts out to Sammy Welsh. Because he's like the... Yeah, he's on Spotify. He's also maybe one of the nicest people on the planet. I'll go ahead and throw that out there, Chris. Will you back me up on that? Like, yeah, Sammy's 100%. A fucking sweetheart. Like, I've known that dude since middle school, and I guess since freshman year, and he's always just been the best. So, shouts to Sammy Welsh, and go pick up Mustachio's Gradients, because it's all bangers. All right, Chris, what do you got?
So we got a fight that I saw the finish to, but I didn't see before the finish happened.
Hey, that'll work.
Marc-Andre Barriault versus Abu Azatar. Wasn't this the guy that got cut initially, and then they said, just kidding? He like snuck in, was it wine? Or he broke some sort of
potatoes? I don't think it was. Was that Abu Azatar?
I believe so.
Was it?
It wasn't. No. No, I think
it was a different. Yeah, it's a different.
Apologies to you, Abu. I'm sorry.
No, it was. I know it's two. I think it's actually two A's.
Ottman.
It was. It was Ottman. Yeah, actually, it might have been his brother. Actually.
Oh shit.
I'm pretty positive here. I can tell you that right now.
Anyways, yeah, I saw this finish.
Yeah, it was Ottman Azatar.
Okay.
So, wait, which one of them is the Bash Brothers then?
Oh, aren't those the two?
And so I'm now realizing if they're both in the UFC, then we have to figure out which one's the bad ones.
Oh.
Okay, I'm not going to do this math on air, and I'm not going to shout it out while I'm drinking and trying to do this math on air.
What did you think of this before it ended?
I mean, I thought it was back and forth until it wasn't. I guess would be my best way to put it. I don't know. It kind of went how I thought it would, to be honest.
Yeah, I know. Since unfortunately I'm always goddamn busy with the work schedule I have. I know we didn't have our official preview, so I don't have any picks. I can't lie and say, oh, I picked this guy, because I didn't. It doesn't matter. We're just recapping.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where, I mean, I don't have notes in front of me, so I don't remember off the top of my head, but actually, you know what? I can tell you who I had going in. No, I can't, because my phone's now dead and I don't know where the fuck it is. I believe I actually had Azatar by decision going in, and Marc-Andre Barriault clipped him fucking nasty in the third, if I remember right.
Like at the end of the third.
Yeah.
Right at the end.
I had more of a take, but I can't find where my motherfucking notes is. Because I am trying to do all this live while being a little buzz. So.
Oh, good. Next fight we had was a featherweight bout. It was between Omar Morales against Shane Young. Morales, who fights out of, I can't see that flag. Is that Venezuela?
I believe so.
Yep. Fought Australian fight. Nope, New Zealand Kiwi fighter Shane Young. No. What's the one that has a star on the left side? I always forget. Get this confused.
Shane Young is out of New Zealand. I'm pretty.
Okay, so I was right.
Wait,
Yeah,
no. Ah, fuck.
Yeah.
Chris, you're gonna make me have a panic attack about this. Let me just goddamn look it up. I always forget about this. I thought, it is New Zealand. It is New Zealand.
Okay, I was right. Yeah,
you and I do this.
Australia is the one that has the single star on the left.
You and I
side.
have a panic attack about this every single fucking time. Yep.
It's not like I'm a moron and I get Russia and the Netherlands confused. So there's that.
I mean, hey, that takes a special kind of talent. That wait, have I done that?
A lot of people have. That's my point.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, they're very far apart. Like, how do you not at least... wait, do they also think the Czech Republic is Russian? Because that makes a lot more sense then.
Yeah. Just like Croatia and Slovenia and Slovakia are all three of those for the same country.
Right.
And don't forget Serbia.
Yeah, well, Serbia is kind of its own beast. Shout to that film. Actually, don't shout to that film. Good point.
Shouts out to Nico, my cousin.
Oh yeah, and not Serbian film, my not cousin.
Let's go bowling. Anyways,
let's not go Serbian bowling.
Omar Morales got the decision. I didn't really see this. Yeah.
From what I remember, Omar Morales looked pretty impressive in this. This is what sucks so bad about me not having notes when I do this is like it's been a minute. So yeah, I'm just now fucking have the Barrial Azatar fight up, and now I'm realizing how that fight went, where it was super back and forth, and it was mostly Barrial surviving the first round and then smashing him in the second. Morales versus Shane Young, if I remember right, it was just Morales being way outclassing him over time, right?
Yeah, just kind of putting on a show. So this next fight, this was a close fight, at least according to the judges' scorecards, and also a fight which Zane Simon had the pleasure of listening to Buffer try to pronounce the names. Mikhail Alexichuk versus Modestas, not Bukakis, Bukaskas.
No, but sometimes you gotta just let them Bukakis fly, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I apologize.
It gets to be a real... Oh, never mind.
I apologize. And the second I said it, it sounded... just didn't want it to happen anymore. I mean, this fight went, I would say, probably a lot like how we all thought it would. To be fair, Bukowskis looked better over time than I thought he would. Mikhail Alexichuk, I thought, would have a lot more success early. And he did have a lot of success early, but he just started getting clipped and tiring in the second and third pretty consistently, right?
Yeah.
That's why I think he barely got that split decision win. I was a little surprised. That second round could have gone... The second and third were both pretty competitive. First, I think he definitely looked the better end towards the end of it. Yeah, I don't know. It about went how I thought it would, but in that it was fairly uneventful, but kind of... I don't know. It seemed a lot like Bukowski's kind of getting his feel for upper level competition, right?
I agree with that. That's a good way to put it. So quick question. I get this confused every time. Is Abubakar Habib's cousin? I know Usman. Yep. He is as well, right?
I mean, they refer to him as Habib's cousin. Everybody does. Yeah. If he's not, I can't tell.
I know
the
Zane
reason
Simon.
why.
I think it was Zane. He's like, wait, or is he just like... He's in the UFC because he knows Habib, just like Artem Lobov in the UFC.
There is like some weird shit with the way people translate that stuff. Like, you know, a lot of times people in that region of the world will lend their last name to other people who are training under them or near them. in order to get them signed, kind of thing. I don't think that's the case in this case. I think he's actually his cousin. Or
So
like
what's
second
the
cousin or
over-under
something.
on seeing the next Bellator debut of new mythical fighter Dylan McGregor? Yeah. So it's like
You know what? In honor-
Control Alt Deleted.
I was gonna say, in honor of the late great Jessica Walters, I don't understand the question and I won't respond to it.
That's a very that's just a very
Yeah.
smart way to answer.
Yeah,
An
yeah.
intelligent way.
100%. I fucking also shouts to Jessica Walters. God damn, R.I.P. One of my all-time favorites. You would know her from her.
Isn't she actually still alive?
She passed away this last week.
This last week.
Yeah, I think so.
Wait, what?
Yeah, the Jessica Walters from the mom from Arrested Development and Archer.
Oh fuck yeah, from Arrested Development. For some reason I forgot her first name. Excuse me. Yeah. No, I saw that. Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah,
She,
one of the all-time greats. She also I forget the fucking movie that she's in that's so good. It's not Murder, She Wrote, but it's something like Murder, She Wrote. Like in the titling. I forget the name of it. It's such a good fucking movie. And she beats the shit out of it's Charles Bronson?
I mean the actor. Yeah.
It's either Charles Bronson or Charlton Heston. I don't remember which one of the two. But she
Well,
beats
I hope it's Charlton Heston.
She beats the fuck out of one of the two of them. The bigger of the fuck boys are the two of them in that
That's
movie.
definitely Heston. Then.
Okay. Yeah, I forget what it is. It's oh man, Zane Simon I'm sure has a post about it on his Twitter, but anyway, go rewatch that movie. I will you know what? In my well-rounded, if I remember, which hopefully I will, 50-50, I will add the link in the well-rounded section, but god damn it, that movie is really good where she beats the fuck out of a dude and is just an all-around bad bitch. Yeah, big fan. Yeah, and the win over Jared Gooden was, I mean, it was just dominant and clear. You know what I mean? Like, he out-jabbed him the entire fight and then out-wrestled him in the third round just to put a stamp on it. It was one of the most dominant performances I've probably ever seen.
Zane and Eddie were talking about, it kind of looked like Habib fighting Ali Quinto. Is like, I'll just jab you to death, and now it's time to.
One of the most dominant performances I've ever seen in that weight class against a dude who was like, while Jared Gooden definitely was outmatched going in, but I don't think anybody thought that the skill difference was that fucking profound. But dude, he absolutely lit him up on the feet and then just fucked him up on the ground in the second part. It was wild, and it's exactly what you'd expect from a Habib disciple. So yeah, big fucking win, and I'm keeping an eye on that dude. Speaking of which, dudes I'm keeping an eye on and dudes I'm not keeping an eye on. Yo, you getting Von Flue in the first round and not even pretending to understand what a Von Flue is? I'm not paying attention to you, Fabiano Charant. I had Alonzo Minifield going into this. Did I say Fabiano?
The same thing. Oh, not really, because you think of Fabio with the hair.
I mean, Fabio without the hair ain't getting it done either. So I'm going to go ahead and say Alonzo Minifield just doing everything right and Fabio doing absolutely everything wrong.
That's a nice plane ride home for Alonzo Minifield. Good job.
Dude, it was the easiest fight he's probably ever had. Like, the second that dude got taken down into side control and then just kept holding on to the head, and then you see a very, very slow transition from Alonzo Minifield lock the head and just start putting that forward shoulder pressure, and then dude just does nothing. You're like, oh, you don't know what's happening, bro. It's like, it looked like some old fucking King of the Cage shit, to be honest. Like, that is some fucking late notice, you didn't get your licks in kind of matchmaking, and it came to be fucking proven true. So, boy.
Speaking of another quick finish, Jamie Malaki.
Oh, R.I.P. to Pat Oj's stomach on this one.
Yep. That was a nice,
and actually,
nasty counter left hook.
Yeah,
it was a slip left hook. He kind of just
a
counter, but he was nice. He made him whiff, and then he made him overextend. That was just
super slick counter, and then fucking what's his face, Mark Fellows coming through with the shoey bet with Pat out the gate on this one. That is honestly, if you were gonna pick a shoey bet, that is a super smart shoey bet, man. Like in retrospect, Worthy is a banger. Worthy leaves himself very open, right?
Yep.
I don't think anybody didn't think that going in. I think everybody thought just the athleticism difference and the speed difference was going to be able to make Worthy either, like I said going in, either catch a guillotine or catch him with something big in the first round. And then if Mark can survive that, I thought he would have survived. And I think Worthy might have thought the same thing because he was not looking for a big goddamn shot to catch him in the face. So, man, big win and big performance from Jamie Malarkey. Definitely got to keep an eye on that dude going forward.
It was definitely a solid win by him. Good win for the Aussies.
Yeah, and shouts to Mark Fellows for and Mark's back when the first word he hears is shoey. Evidently, Mark, your timing is perfect as always. But call of the week, I would say. Best bet of the week. It's got to go to Mark Fellows with the shoey bet with Pat O'Shea, hands down. Speaking of bad bets, anybody put money on Jillian Robertson in this one did not watch the Pearl Gonzalez fight, I have a feeling.
Yeah, they didn't do that. They didn't do their homework, their research. You could put it which way you want. They also probably didn't know Miranda Maverick is very physical, likes to press forward, walk up against the fence.
Yeah, she's a bit of a bully.
Yeah, and this is how
in
this
the best
went.
of ways. Yeah.
Robertson had a couple of good moments.
Couple of times where she was able to get the underhook from half guard and work to the back. Or like when Miranda started getting overextended, she was able to slip off to the side and kind of change position. But yeah, man, I mean, over time, Miranda Maverick was always going to win those positions for those scrambles for top control and also win the exchange on the feet. I just didn't think her exchange on the feet would be so clear.
So solid win by Maverick. I wonder who she fights next. Maybe because did she already fight Mackenzie Dern? I can't remember how that's looking at flyweight.
Who's that? Jillian?
No, Maverick.
No, so Maverick is coming off the win over Liana Jajua in UFC 254, and then before that, she had the wins in Invicta over Pearl Gonzalez, Deanna Bennett, and.
Do you think it's too early if she fights someone like a Mackenzie Dern? I know Mackenzie Dern just stubbed someone.
That's a big step up, and she's a grappler, so I think that's a pretty big step up in competition. I just
can't really remember the outlook of 125 is.
Yeah, I would have to pull
maybe
up.
JoJo Calderwood, but again, maybe
that's still way too high up. Yeah. I would say like a random Marcos maybe. Is Marcos at 25 or is she still 15?
I believe she's 25.
I thought she moved up, right?
Yeah.
I might be wrong about that. I feel like I'm wrong about that. Or Marcos. I mix up Marcos and a fucking Panicky and Zod too much, which is probably racist and offensive in retrospect. Even though they're not the same race at all. One's Palestinian, the other one's Iranian. But
one has red hair as well too.
Well, listen, Chris. There's a lot of reasons why they're different. I'm not saying I'm confusing them for good reasons. And also, yes. Pro tip, Mark Fellows. His name is Pat O'Shea, as in the French pronunciation, I would assume, of auger. Because he's not a German, or else he would be Pat Auger, I would assume, right? That's my guess. That's my guess on how that pronunciation works as a white kid from San Diego who doesn't understand pronunciations that aren't Spanish. What was I looking up, Chris? I forget.
I don't know, but
Tell me about Miranda Granger. Nope, Miranda Maverick. Miranda Granger's someone I went to middle school with.
That's funny how your mind just goes to someone you know. Or
Yeah. Also, I didn't remember that I knew a Granger in middle school up until right this second. Actually, I knew two middle Grangers in middle school, technically. One of which has been on.
Don't say his first name.
Has not been on this show.
Sean O'Malley knocked out Thomas Almeida. I discussed this. We both kind of talked about this a little bit earlier.
Such an idiot. No, Thomas Almeida versus Sean O'Malley was a wild ass fight. I mean, Sean O'Malley should have won this fight in the first round if he would have just kept punching.
Just stop showboating.
Well, not even just stop showboating, just like commit at all.
Yeah, just commit to just following through. That being said, since he's still mentally undefeated,
well, he was mentally undefeated whether he won or lost his fight. As Mark Fellows actually tweeted, that was actually a Mark Fellows tweet. Shouts out, yeah, it's one of the best ones of the night.
Saying all that and where this landscape of I know his stock is still at a certain threshold, right? If the UFC wants to back him or his following and all that. I mean, would you like that Dominic Cruz fight? I don't really know what to think of it.
Sure.
Because if I'm honest, he'll be like, okay, well, I'll just try to kick the shit out of Cruz's legs.
Yep.
But also my legs hurt when I kick. Like, I hurt myself,
And also Sean gasses.
Yeah. I don't know about that fight. That's a weird fight. I could see him. I mean, Cruz can get knocked out.
Sure. But not, like...
Maybe if you can't hit him. I don't know. Sean's fast. But that's in, like, the first round. Like you said, if he doesn't gas.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I could see Cruz schooling him. I could see Cruz taking him the fuck down and just making it a wrestling clinic, too.
Did Sean fight Casey Kenny?
No. Maybe they do that.
They won't, because they're friends, right?
Oh, yeah, they are.
Because they both...
Megan Anderson.
Yeah, they both secretly have a thing for Megan Anderson and are afraid to admit it. Because that's all I can assume from that podcast. Because we all do, also. That's the other secret part. Everyone has a thing for Megan Anderson. She's a very attractive young woman who everyone is a big fan of.
Speaking of Megan Anderson, didn't she unfortunately get released from the UFC, or is that something I misread?
She got cut.
That's fucking dumb.
Well, I mean, her paycheck was not small, from my understanding.
Oh.
I mean, it wasn't big, but for a division where there was one shot and she no longer has that shot.
Yeah.
Nah, I mean, that was kind of always going to break that way, unfortunately, it seems like.
That's a bummer.
I guess, really, I'm just trying to avoid talking about Tyron Woodley versus Vicente Luque, if I'm being honest now.
Yeah. Good victory by Luque.
Made me so fucking sad, dude.
It just made me really sad. That's what I'll say, too.
All I will say is, I get why Herb Dean let this go so long. Or not Herb Dean, Herzog let this go so long. That being said, if you're throwing at fucking air, that doesn't necessarily mean you're effectively countering or effectively selling the fight. And there was a lot of shit where Tyron Woodley is barely able to look at the person he's fighting, and then he'll throw a punch at the sky, and Jason Herzog will be like, counts as a punch! And just let it go for another 6. And, yeah, it wasn't my favorite, and it made me feel very bad.
This is where I'm at but I'll start with Woodley. I don't want him to retire. If he does, I really hope ESPN has something from like an analyst position like he did at Fox.
Nope, they're gonna fuck him.
Yeah, they don't have probably interest. That's a shame.
Well, no, the reason why is twofold. Number one, he went to work for TMZ rather than boxing ESPN because he got that gig when he had it. Number two, When have you seen him on any ESPN or Fox gig since then?
I mean, I have not.
Me neither. And it's not because he hasn't won.
Yeah. That's a bummer.
Yeah, it sucks. Especially since, one of the most depressing things I saw this week was somebody being like, Tyron should start a podcast. I was like, oh! I was like, are you fucking... like, what have I done with my life? If people are asking, Tyron should start a podcast? You mean the one we covered since 2017? That one? Or do you mean when he took a break and then came back in 2019 we covered it again? Which fucking part of his podcast that he's had are you not around for? It drives me nuts. But also, I am a hipster bitch who is the one person who's aware of everyone's podcast, so can only do what we can do.
Vicente Luque...
Dude, Vicente Luque looked incredible, though. I don't want to take anything away.
Still, too. I mean, especially look at the punishment he took from Wonder Boy. I mean, look at the bombs he ate from Woodley.
And the fact that the shot he landed on Woodley that really fucked him up was a cross counter, if I remember right. And it was one that they both landed, but he landed right behind the ear, and then Woodley just went wobbly. And from there, he threw heaters and nonstop at a dude who was very dangerous. Like, take nothing away from Vicente Luque. Like, while I had him going into this fight, and I had him, I think I had him via decision, to be honest. But insane, first off, that Tyron's able to make it to getting Darst. But even more so, insane that Luque was able to Darst Tyron when Tyron's kind of been darsing dudes. Like, that's what he caught.
Yeah. That's how he got Darren Till.
I mean, it's not that. I mean, it was less definitive than his darts on Darren Till, and Vicente Luque didn't get the ass tap jiggle. But, I mean, it wasn't unfamiliar. You know what I mean? So
I'll say this. I mean, yeah, I get it, Luque. You're gonna call out Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz is just a Twitter warrior at this point. The dude's just gonna ask for money. Nate Diaz isn't dumb for asking for money. He's still marketable. He knows his value, but
there's no reason he should fight for under $500,000.
Yeah, and Nate Diaz he's just gonna talk. It doesn't matter. So.
Well, and that's the thing is like
I don't even think Nate Diaz wants to fight. Honestly, the dude's
already. I think he absolutely does, but only for what he's worth, which is $500,000.
No.
Like, if you want to pay him $500,000, pay him $500,000, and we'll make it happen. But if not, then who the fuck cares?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on it. I mean, that's why I'd never blame the Diaz brother or anybody who's like out here negotiating. John Jones, I don't blame John Jones for negotiating for money. Motherfuckers should get paid more. Like. They don't want to pay you. Don't fight. Don't. It ain't going to benefit you. It's only going to hurt you in the long run.
Yeah, because what if you take a fight for less than you're worth and then you get knocked out bad and you can never fight again or something?
I mean,
just regret it.
As has been said many times and as has been shown in this episode, one of my favorite fighters of all time, Jens Pulver. Jens Pulver left the UFC because they wouldn't fucking pay him enough to fight, to keep fighting at 155. So he went to K1 and fought, I forget who. Somebody. Gomi? Or was it Pride? Anyway, he went to Japan and started fighting. Because the UFC just wouldn't pay him what he's fucking worth. And he's like, fuck you.
Yep, it's a shame. This main event, like I said, it doesn't matter if I tell you what I had. I honestly had Francis, but only on a hunch. I just had a feeling that he would just clip him. Not in any way or form in how it actually happened. I imagined him just swinging wildly like a shit-eating wild man and then just catching Stipe trying to like go down with an uppercut. Like,
right.
That's how I thought it would happen. Absolutely applaud Francis for his performance. Everything about it was awesome.
Yeah, I had Stipe round 4, mostly because I thought Ngannou was going to do the same thing he did the first fight, which was be very patient up until he spazzes real hard at Stipe, gasses, and then dies in wrestling exchanges. And holy shit, dude, the way he stuffed some of those takedowns and the way he was able to hang in exchanges in the wrestling game was incredible.
Yeah, and it goes to show with someone who's just that his physicality being able to use just his athleticism and how he can really exploit a very novice and green wrestling game and use it to his advantage is impressive, and he's only going to get better, especially with Eric Nixick as his coach or one of his coaches.
100%.
I'm impressed.
Eric Nixick, I think, is the best thing to happen to that dude's
I'm very
camp.
looking forward to seeing Ngannou defend his belt. Can Stipe win in a trilogy? I'm sure. Yeah, he's still talented. I do kind of think, though, honestly, John.
I can't wait for Derek Lewis to win in a 5-round 50-49 decision somehow, where they have like 4 rounds that are tied.
I'll say this. I do agree with John Jones, though. If Stipe fights Ngannou again, I think Stipe should put on some more mass, though. That's so. I honestly think he should.
I think they don't need that.
As long as it doesn't really compromise his cardio.
I don't know that the third fight is justified immediately.
Oh no, I'm not saying immediately. I don't think they fight at all. Now, fuck no. Stipe's gonna take about 6 months off.
Well, Stipe should have. Well, they only said 2. Rumors are Athletic Commission's only saying 2, which is fucking stupid, dude.
No, the knockout like that needs.
Any bad knockout like that should be 6 months automatic. It's fucking.
Look what happened to Marlon Moraes. He got knocked the fuck out, and then he takes like 3 months a fight. 3 months later, he gets knocked out by Sandhagen. They're like, okay, fight Rob Font in 3 months. Then gets knocked out again. Why do you think?
Well, and it's like the JDS shit where they're like, oh, well, they said you're cleared, bro. And he's like, I literally was cleared yesterday. You want me to take a fight? And then he gets deaded again. Yeah.
Stipe, I thought looked good starting in that second round. I'm not taking anything away from Francis.
No, dude, Stipe looked
countered Stipe. I think Stipe, when he hit him clean and hard, he's like, "Oh, did I hurt him?" And he had his hands down, and it was already too late.
Yeah, Stipe looked good. He just, I think he thought he had that Verdum KO again, like he did, because it looked the corner he turned and the way he hit him. It looked a lot like the Verdum KO, and then he went to follow up like he did with Verdum, and he just got deaded. And yeah, man, I think he just misread how bad Ngannou was hurt and how bad he can get clipped coming in. Wild fucking fight though, and man, I would never have guessed it. I still don't necessarily think it would go that way if it happened again. But goddamn, man, if Ngannou's gonna come out here throwing fucking leg kicks and body kicks and like setting up shots behind a jab, like, okay, yo, like the biggest complaint I've had about Ngannou is he has no game. Like he has nothing to set up anything. It's
now
just
he does.
Swinging murder hooks. It's just swinging murder hooks to the chin up has been his entire game. And then, like, he just came out here, worked behind a jab, threw low kicks, and fucking murdered Stipe. I'm like, all right, bro. At that point, I mean, you want to fight like that every time? I have way less of a problem with any part of you picking you.
Yeah, I don't really see anyone beating him. I mean, I could see Stipe beating him if they.
I think Derek Lewis is still a bad fucking fight for him because he's a counterpuncher.
Yeah, and because he has.
I think any
fuck you power too.
I think counterfighters with big power are always going to be a problem for Francis. And I think Derek Lewis is one of the bigger ones. John Jones, I don't know.
I think he beats John Jones just because the last time we've seen John Jones fight someone who throws a volume and power, he kind of just backs off.
My point, more importantly, I think, is that it'll never happen unless the UFC wants to pay for it.
The fight will never happen.
Well, no, it's because the UFC's cheap.
Yeah, and that's why.
Yeah, like it doesn't make them more money to make John Jones versus Francis than it does to make anyone else versus Francis. So why would they do it? Because they don't need to. So it sucks. But dude, Francis Ngannou, bad motherfucker, and especially under Eric Nixick. I'm curious to see what the fuck is going to happen with that division at this point.
I think they do. I think it's going to be Lewis and Ngannou, or Ngannou Lewis too in July.
I think so too, and that is going to.
They'll put that on the Poirier McGregor 2 card. That's the co-main.
Think about that card in retrospect. That's not
Or
going
no,
to be.
Poirier McGregor 3. Excuse me, Jesus Christ.
Well, whatever. Either way, I feel like that's going to be a bad card in retrospect. I'm very confident in how two of those fights go. In that one of them is very boring, and the other one is very
I was there for the first time Lewis and Gunn.
Actually, I would say they're both going to be very similar, yeah.
I think Poirier knocks out McGregor again, but if not, it's McGregor just being very tentative and both of them just like kind of exchanging for just the whole 5 rounds.
I think it'll probably be a very tentative 5-round decision because
Connor's just be like,
for,
okay, well, I'm just gonna switch
Poirier.
stances maybe, or just not, have my karate stance.
Well, a lot of Connor's changes in fights that he loses, as seen with Nate Diaz, is just not engage for large portions because when he engages, he's losing.
Yeah. Especially you back him up against the cage.
Yeah, which is the entire thing that is his prop. Anyway, I don't want to keep repeating things we've been saying on this podcast for 4 fucking years.
That's all I got.
But yeah, all in all, fun shit. And man, as weird as 260 went, that is like the best possible. I was very bummed that Stipe lost, but if Stipe was gonna lose, this is the coolest possible way for him to do it. Is for it to be to a dominant and technical Ngannou performance in a way that we've never seen from that dude before. Yeah. And
I'm happy for Ngannou.
Man,
just not even based on just what that dude's been through, but he seems like just a genuinely humble, nice,
super nice guy. It
like
seems like
the way he embraced Stipe and he's like, "Hey, you make me better. Thank you so much. You were a great champion. You're one of the best. I really appreciate it. I everything good that's happening to him, he's deserved it. It's well earned. And I really am intrigued now. This is really fun. There's a lot of fun matchups or bad matchups. It doesn't matter. There's some rising heavyweights too. And you know what's fun too? Cyril Gane maybe down the line if he can get a couple wins.
Right. Yuri Prochazka if he can get some wins.
And then Tom Aspinall, the really good prospect. I don't even think he's a prospect anymore. That dude out of Liverpool, trained to Darren Till.
No, he definitely needs some more wins under his belt. But yeah, there's a bunch of young. We're starting to finally get a young influx of heavyweights. So I think it'll be fun, man, for sure. And Francis Ngannou has proved he is not just a fucking brawler anymore. That dude came out with a very succinct technical game plan under a coach who clearly instilled that in him, and god damn, am I happy to see more of it going forward, man. That dude, anytime I'm seeing heavyweights work behind a jab and stuff takedowns as that's their game is we're gonna work behind a jab and stuff takedowns, I fucks with it. I'm here for that every time. That's why Stipe was dope, is because he come out, work behind a jab and stuff takedowns. So, I'm here for it.
Cool.
Well, on that note, Chris, you got anything you want to shout out before we get out of here?
That's it for me. That's all I got.
All right. Well, until next time, everybody, you guys can find us, TSOVpod on Twitter. You can send us an email sovpod@gmail.com. You can, I don't know, I feel like that's most places. Oh, check out our YouTube channel, The Sound of Violence on YouTube. If you look up The Sound of Violence podcast, every week I try and add to our playlists this is episode 192, so we have an episode 192 playlist with all of the podcasts that we've talked about that are on YouTube, as well as if you go to thesoundofviolence.com, we list every single episode we talk about, and we link to all of them, so that way you guys have access to it. Also, if your podcast player sucks and it is not automatically in the description giving you links to every single show we talk about, you should look into something like Podcast Addict or something along those lines that will automatically give you that info. So I think that's the majority of what we got. Oh, the only other thing, if you're on YouTube and you go to our YouTube page for this thing, you will see a link for something called Tab for a Cause. Chris, you ever heard of Tab for a Cause?
Don't believe so.
So I just recently heard about this, and I'm not at all affiliated with it. I literally just came across it because of I want to say Polyphonic, the music video YouTube channel that does like music, like kind of deep dives into music. Anyway, it's an app that you can add to Chrome where essentially every time you open a new tab, it gives you a heart, and you can donate those hearts to certain charities. So it's like
bad.
It's basically ad revenue. So it's like when you open a tab, it'll just automatically give you like a date, and then you get set a bunch of links on the side, and then it'll just show like whatever fucking Nature's Own bread ads or whatever in the corner. And then essentially with all that ad money that you're not using, they're just automatically donating it, like adding it to a charity fund, and then you can click the hearts and you can choose like, do I want it to go to Action Against Hunger or Save the Children or the Bail Project, that kind of thing. I always go to the Bail Project because that's, fucking prisons are a goddamn problem. But it's a fucking free thing. It doesn't cost you anything. All you have to do is add it to your Chrome browser. And we'll have a link in the description. I think if you do it, it gives me some hearts that I can donate somewhere. But even if you don't, I don't give a fuck. Don't go through our link if you don't want. I don't care. I don't know. I don't know that it actually helps anything. I'd like to think it does. It seems like it does. People who I respect think it helps. So I don't know. Worst case, add it to your browser, and you have, rather than opening up a blank Chrome tab, you have a pretty picture of some nature life with a ad or two, and you can just normally use the internet like you would. So it costs you nothing, and it's a good way to theoretically give back. Even if you say it does nothing, it doesn't affect you in it either. So what the fuck does it matter, right? I guess that's my point. So on that point, Chris, you got anything else for we're out of here?
Nope, except, go ahead and do the tab for a cause. Sounds like a fantastic thing to help contribute to, and that's just super rad.
Even if it's not, it seems like it's such a little effort. Like, why not is kind of my whole theory on it. Like, say it does nothing, it doesn't affect me at all in the long run. So, hey, if I'm giving money to some fucking scam organization that's not actually giving to anything, it doesn't actually affect me doing anything different. So, like, worst case scenario, good scam, y'all. But I'm pretty sure it's legit. Especially since they're constantly hooked up with legit ass charities. So look into Tap for a Cause. And in the meantime, y'all, we love you. Keep putting out MMA podcasts, because really we can't survive without y'all. And go watch some skate videos, right? I'm thinking, like, y'all watch Blind Video Days? Maybe you should watch Blind Video Days. Or like, if maybe y'all need some zero misled youth. As a matter of fact, everybody needs some zero misled youth in their life. So next time you're like having a night, you're like, you know what, I'm gonna crack open some beers tonight. I'm gonna have a whole ass time. Just in the background, put on Zero Misled Youth, the skate video, just on YouTube. Put it on in the background. You don't have to watch the skating. You'd be like, damn, these are all bangers on the soundtrack. And halfway through, you'd be like, good God, did that man just ollie off a building? And all of a sudden, we'll see you back here for some dope-ass Jamie Thomas content. And we'll be Smith grinding and Benny Hanna in no time, y'all. So on that note, we will be back. Chris, hopefully we're going to be back, Friday, Saturday this week? Something like that, hopefully?
I hope.
Sunday, if not. Not Monday, right? We're going to be Friday, Saturday. Well, no. You know what? Bellator is Friday. So, I'll put it this way. I guarantee we will not do a Monday episode next week. How about that?
Okay.
Deal?
That's a deal.
All right. So, expect a earlier than Monday episode this upcoming week. Until then, y'all, check out our Twitter, TSOV Pod. We'll be tweeting shit out. Until then, go do some decadent. We love you. And it's been a blast. We out. Let.
liked by the sound of violence.
Are you excited about it?